You did it. You made it through. Congratulations, all of y'all. You made it through 4 hours of curriculum yesterday. That has got to be the hardest part. And you did it. You made it through. I got a few questions for you guys before we get started. And I'm going to go shift 1 here. Shift 7. There we go. Okay, I got a few questions for you guys. How many of you got to place your first trade ever yesterday? Now, there will be a little bit of a lag because, we're not just 100% caught up, so it's going to be just a moment, but I'm so excited to see this. How many of you guys placed your first ever sim trade, but we did it live together? Okay, we got Sheila, we got Jim, we got M, we got Betty, Darren was already on 10 trades. I'll say he was probably working on it while we were doing curriculum. Okay, Dylan did, Ashley, okay, Jason. How exciting, you did it. Was it not that crazy? Wasn't that crazy? And this is, when I tell you guys, this is my mission. My mission is to show you guys that it's not that crazy. Everyone that just in the industry that tries to make trading out to be this crazy thing. Okay, we got a $220 profit too. It's not. The hardest part of trading, guys, which I think we went over plenty of times, is the repetition, getting the reps in and doing it over and over again. Being consistent, because most people that want to or set out to do anything that's worth doing at all, most of them give up. We're already one step ahead by just simply getting the reps in and doing it over and over again. Oh my gosh, these profits are crazy. Minnie made 1%. Let's go. We got a 1 to 2R. $100 profit with Mike. Carl, okay, 25 pounds. Over $200, Steve. This is insane. You guys, amazing work. I'm so proud. Okay, I am curious, for those of you guys that placed the trade with me together, how many of you guys stuck out the oil trade? So yesterday at the end of the session, we had time. I wasn't getting off that stream until we did it together. We placed a trade in crude oil. We placed a long position. I am curious how many of you guys stuck it through and continued to go. Okay, we've got someone held it overnight. Okay, stop loss got hit. Coolest thing is you can just leave a trade, and worst case scenario, if your computer dies, you forget it's open, you got the stop loss on there. Somebody made $10,000. Kevin, what are you doing? Do you look up our risk? Was this a high risk trade? We got $1,500 today. All right, let's go, guys. Let's go. Michelle said it hit her stop loss. All right, now we know. $200. Okay. Now, another question that I have for you guys. Someone did 296. Excellent work, guys. Excellent work. Someone held overnight. Cosmo said I did it on my phone. Adrian, it's all right. You got it out of the way. I don't know if you guys remember what we call ourselves. Let's see if we got a few. If you know, you know. What do we call ourselves? With a smile. And we're like, yeah, dude, it's me. Let's see what we got. All right, Cyberfrost. I remember you from yesterday. We used you as an example. Cyberfrost had 2 wins and 2 losers. Julie, that's exactly it. Linda, you're on it. Yep. Get in, losers. We're going trading. But we understood completely and utterly what that means to be a loser. It is not any hit to the ego. It's not being down on yourself. We know that is absolutely part of the system, part of the strategy. Exactly. It is correct, losers. Losing correctly. You guys did amazing. Okay, and then the last question that I have for you guys, we call ourselves losers. You guys did place that trade in crude oil, but now how many of you went out and continued to do it on your own? Actually got some reps in? Did you continue to trade crude oil? Did you know how to place your next trade? How many of you guys were able to keep going? I am curious because the first trade was easy. I walked you guys through it, but now the hard part was, could you have identified a second entry? Okay, so we got Sam was able to do a second trade. Tom was able to do a second trade. Sue was able to do a second trade. Okay. All right, so that was my biggest question was, okay, did I give you guys enough information yesterday to where you can confidently do it on your own? I walked you through the first one, and I needed to see how many of you guys were able to get into the second one. So, great job, great work, guys. I am so excited. This is the best way to start day 3. We are in for a treat today. So let's go ahead and get into our slides. We've got everybody here, everybody ready to roll. I'm going to use my handy dandy shortcut here. I'm just kidding. Team, if you guys could throw the slides up for me, I don't know how to do it. There it is. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, you did it. Welcome to day 3. Welcome to the last day. So exciting. Now, what did we go over? What have we covered? You guys got to see how to place your first paper trade, your first demo trade. You did it. Check the box off. Accomplished. Way to go. You understand what the opportunities are in trading. Most of you guys were able to continue, to keep going, to place a second trade, to place a third trade. And you were able to see how you can scale what you have learned from yesterday specifically and to be able to actually make money from it. So even if these are sim dollars, demo dollars, you guys can see that it can be done. You saw the 3-step system yesterday. We went about 3.5 hours into training, lots and lots and lots of training. We went over testing, and then we briefly touched on tracking, which is what I'm so excited to get into today. We're going to hit tracking home. We're going to hit it hard. We're going to hit the home run. The words aren't working, but you get the idea. Day 3 tracking is going to be huge today. Now, we do understand this. If most traders lose their capital, we understand that there is 80 to 90% of traders who lose their capital when they get into trading. We've already gone over this. But if most traders lose their capital when they get into trading, what is the very first thing that we should focus on? What is our main goal here? And this is for everyone that attended yesterday. Boom, David's got it. That's what I'm talking about. That is our number 1 priority. Exactly. We're protecting our capital. We're protecting our capital. Now, Farza, it's actually not correct. We are not trying to not lose money. We understand that we do have to lose money. And I'll see if we got this recap in here. But yes, there we go. Evie's got it. Evie, keep capital, lose correctly. We're not trying to avoid losses. Those are inevitable. Those are going to happen. We just want to make sure that we're taking correct losses. Way to go, Jeffrey. That's what I'm talking about. Way to go, Monica. You guys got it. Okay, excellent, excellent. Keeping our capital. You got it correct. Now, also remember, guys, this is where I've showed this. This will be the 3rd time, but it hits home every time for you guys to be able to see where you're at now and the potential of where you could go. I showed you guys this yesterday. I'm going to show it to you again. The difference between one singular trade in 2022 and one singular trade in 2025, the fact that it's the same strategy, the same setup, just different positions, different sized positions. This one right here is from 2022. I know it's a little bit blurry here, but this was a $300 profit using the same lines we went over yesterday versus this one in 2025, a $50,000 profit. Same setup, same system. We had an action line, we had a safety line. Now remember, our goal is keeping our capital, and we know that it is normal to switch positions if the king, you guys know, the price says so. We understood that it was, it's not an easy thing to do, to think from long to short, short to long. It's not easy to want to change your mind, to think that you're wrong, to have made a decision to go long or to go short, and then for it to be wrong. But we understood that that's just simply what we have to do. We have to submit to the price. It is normal to pay fees. And remember, this is what we call our losses. So we absolutely have to lose. We have to take losses. We have to take losers. But if they're done correctly, it should absolutely feel like a fee. That's what we call the losses, fees. We're just paying fees. That is part of the game. It's pay to play. That's why we call ourselves losers. Now, what the market does, we don't know, we don't care, and we have no control over. Our little tiny trades are drops in the bucket. I'm talking like micro, minuscule drops in the bucket. What we do does not impact or change the price. We also know that we have no control over what the king decides to do. If he's marching north, if he's marching south, if we're going up, if we're going down, if we're going long, if we're going short, we don't have control over that. What we do have control over is how we react and how we can just simply follow the price. So we went over training. We went over congratulations for everyone that stuck it out yesterday. We learned the proper psychology for the first half of yesterday, which was setting the tone. This was making sure that everyone completely understood how to even approach the markets, how to think about losses, how to think about the markets in general. This was such a key pivotal point in starting yesterday's training, which is talking about psychology. And then we went over strategy. Lots and lots and lots and lots of strategy yesterday. Now we went over testing. We got to get a single rep in together, but now the coolest part is you guys were able to get more reps in after yesterday's session. So that's the part that I'm incredibly proud of, that you guys were able to make the decision on your own without me. Now, today we're going to be talking much more about tracking, how you move from random trial and error to actually running a profitable strategy. I'm assuming that says strategy. There it is. Yes. Running a strategy. Now, I already saw some of the questions in the chat. The moment that you guys have all been waiting for today. We are just moments away from our special guest, Umar Ashraf. Verified 8-figure trader and more than a decade of experience. He's got more than me. I feel like it's 11 or 12, but I cannot remember. It's one of the two. Also the founder of TradeZella, the #1 trading journal. Okay, what is he going to be going over today with you guys though? The 5 stages from beginner to pro that every trader needs to go through. So everything that we learned yesterday, everything that we learned on day 1, we saw the strategy proven. We saw that your mentor has been proven. We saw that you can believe in yourself, that you can prove it to yourself. Then day 2, we went over psychology, we went over strategy. But now, how do we move from beginner to pro? This is not about skipping ahead. We've already talked about this. This is not become a millionaire overnight. This is putting the work in and working through every single stage here. What is your favorite part from Umar's session? You won't have an answer to that one because you haven't gone there yet. All right. So we are stopping right here. I'm going to see if we've got Umar in the chat. We've still got a few more minutes. I want to let you guys know there's a few things about Umar that you might not know. There was a survey done, I believe it was in 2023, where there was a survey of most handsome trader. He won. He won most handsome trader in 2023. I don't think you guys know that about him. He doesn't like to brag about it. It's true. It happened. I can verify because I did do the survey. It was me. But I will say Umar is one of the most respected traders in the space. Even coming from me, there's a lot of traders out there. There's a lot of influencers out there. There's a lot of, I'd say, mentors out there. I'd say my top 2 would be Uncle Mike, my mentor, and Umar Ashraf. Like, highly respected. The fact that I'm even able to get him on this call today, guys, is an insane value here. I had to pull some mega strings because he doesn't do this for everyone. So I'm hoping that everyone can be incredibly respectful of his time today. This is an incredible opportunity working through the 5 stages. So make sure, just like we did yesterday, you guys are taking notes. You're taking notes. Everything that we're going through, each one of these stages here will be applicable from what we learned yesterday. We are learning about scaling. How do we go from beginner to pro? All right, now, without further ado, I believe we've got my team working on the setup, so give us just a second here. We're getting them in. Let me get an okay from my team real quick that we've got them in here. Okay, we're still working on it. We got some tech difficulties, so hang tight, hang tight. All right, while we're here and we're just hanging around, what is something that you guys already know about TradeZella or Umar Ashraf? I want to see maybe if you guys got some fun facts here that maybe I don't even know. Thank you, Piero, for holding down the chat. We love you. We love you. We've got some of my team here answering questions. If you guys have any questions, we've got my team here in the chat helping out. Okay, Gordon, legit. Yes. Roger. Yep, I'd agree with you on that one. There we go. I am curious, how many of you guys do have TradeZella or have heard of TradeZella or have used it before? If you don't, this is something where, yes, I have an affiliate. I have an affiliate code. Even if I didn't, this would be a program that I promote fully and wholeheartedly with my chest. It is one of the greatest journaling softwares out there. Now, are there other ones? Yeah, sure. Could you write it down? Could you do it yourself? We went over this yesterday. Could you create an Excel spreadsheet? Yeah, sure. But the amount of data that you get from the way that TradeZella is programmed, also the amount of AI that they're coming out with and that they already have, is just absolutely mind-blowing. It's ahead of the curve. It's ahead of its time. So the absolute number one trading journal on the market. Okay, so Skyline's looking for TradeZella. Well, I think Skyline, after today's session, you'll be convinced. It's an incredible platform. Now, remember, this is part of the giveaway. So for some of you guys, I mean, I know I'm going to be mentioning it later, but today is the last day. If you're here, you are eligible for the giveaway. And we got a few. I'm going to not spill too much of the beans, but just remember, there are giveaways. And if you were here today, you're already eligible. If you showed up yesterday and you showed up day one, you guys are eligible for the giveaways. So congratulations to everyone making it 3 days in a row. All right, you heard it here first from Daniel. TradeZella, number one game changer. There we go, Jasmine. All right, Marty, go back to yesterday. Insane amount of value. Oh, someone says I don't deserve a giveaway. Well, if you made it all 3 days, you absolutely deserve a giveaway. Give me just a moment. I got to make sure I didn't just skip something. I'm just sitting here yapping, and we got Umar just sitting here on hold. Okay. I'm so excited. I don't think you guys understand the weight of the situation here. I'm so stoked right now. Believe it or not, guys, I have my notes ready. I'll be taking notes. Shine bright like a diamond. I'm going to be taking notes from Umar's session today too. Incredible value. And I'm going to leave this back on the screen. Give me just a second. I don't know what happens if I click this. I'm going to try it though. Thank heavens. Okay. So for some of you guys that are just now joining, I can still see our live stream number going up. We've got 8,584 watching right now. We are waiting on Umar Ashraf to join the live stream today. We're going to be going over the 5 stages from beginner to pro that every trader must go through. Every single trader. Remember, this is not about skipping ahead. This is doing the work in each stage. So if you haven't had your calendar marked up yet, or if you don't have your notes ready yet, 5 stages from beginner to pro. Thank you, JC. I know, I'm just happy to be here. You guys made it. Now, coolest part, I know that I keep giving these little tidbits away about the giveaways, but 5,000 of you guys today, 5,000 of you. That's like most of the entire chat. 5,000 of you guys are going to be able to receive the 50K Apex account giveaway. Just remember, that's like a majority. Oh, okay. We got Umar in. Umar, you missed your introduction, but it was a beautiful one.
Sorry, I will rewatch it. I was having a hard time joining StreamYard for some reason. It was not letting me join, but how's everyone doing? Can I see all the comments or?
I don't know if you can see them, but I can. Everybody's stoked to see you, stoked to have you.
I'm excited to be here. All right, are we ready to kick it off?
Yeah, we are. I let them know that you're going over the 5 stages from beginner to pro. Everyone's taking notes. Everybody's ready. My only question for you, Umar, is we got a lot of beginners in the chat, so just don't scare them away.
Yeah, no. I'll cover everything where it touches on beginners to like advanced traders, and there's parts here that still apply to me, right? So just to take a step back, let me introduce myself. My name's Umar. I don't know what the introduction was. Sorry I missed it. I've been trading for like 12, 13 years now. I've made almost every single mistake that everyone's made. I still make them now. It's just at a much, much higher level. The mistakes end up costing more money, but they still happen. And ultimately, what I want to walk you guys through is essentially the 5 stages every trader has to go through, what those 5 stages look like, the reality of trading, and just kind of like give you the insides of like, hey, how do you go from stage 1 to 2? What consistent stage 2? And all the difficulties and challenges, and once again, how to overcome them.
Excellent. All right, Umar, I'm gonna hand it to you.
Cool. Okay, so I gotta share my screen. So
Don't worry, we're working through it. I'm gonna have my back end guy. All you need to do is hit the screen share in the middle of StreamYard, and then I'm gonna have my team pop it up full screen for you.
Cool. Okay, let me get this right here.
But you'll be tickled if you go back and listen to your intro. I told something that many people don't know about you.
All right, I will watch it after. Okay, Windows, touch screen. Let's go to Windows. Okay. All right.
There we go. All right, team, if you guys could pop Umar up on top and you can take me down. I'm just going to be in the background taking notes. Also, I'll be taking notes from today, so thank you, Umar.
All right. Can everyone see my screen?
Not yet. Give it just a second. I still got my back end team trying to make you first and foremost. So give me just a sec.
Probably just record this just so I have the writing.
Oh, let me see the. Okay.
What did you guys cover today? Can you hear me?
Oh, we're here. We're here.
Oh, okay. You disappeared. I was like, oh man, did I lose everything? All
Okay,
right.
today we just did recap, so the floor is yours.
All right, cool. All right, guys. So as I said, I'm going to talk about the 5 stages of profitable trading, and ultimately, I want to help you guys build a profitable trading system overall, and just kind of walk you through what that all looks like. So these are the 5 steps that I want to kind of cover. Ultimately, this is where most people are in the beginner, novice stage. People typically go into the developing stage after. This is where most people get stuck, in my opinion. And like I said, I'll go through all of it individually, one by one, and talk about how to get to the next stage and how all of it looks like and simplify for you guys. This is the second stage, once again, developing traders. And this also answers the question when everyone's like, oh, how long is it going to take me to become profitable? How long is it going to take me to know what I'm doing, or, kind of find an edge? Some people 2 years, some people a year. I'd be lying to say it's going to take you 2 weeks, 3 weeks, right? It ultimately depends on all the stuff that's done here. Then we go to intermediate, and a lot of stuff that happens in intermediate is just optimization. This is where you start having some really good data. You start knowing what to do with the data. You start knowing how to kind of execute on your playbooks, your strategies, what trades to eliminate. And this is like where you start to like tweak things up. And then the advanced stage, and this is a stage where it's usually back and forth, because this is where I'm still at, right? And like I'll go to this stage sometimes in my trading career, and then I would go here, and then I would go back here, and I would go here, and I would go back here. And the reason this area is different is because this area comes down to sizing up, right? Like, how do I, instead of risking $10,000 per trade, how do I go to 20? Instead of risking 20,000, how do I go to 30? Like, how do I start sizing up? So it's like, if anyone's starting here and they go from this stage to this, they'll like hover back and forth. But the timeline of here to here is just very dependent. It is going to take months and months. It's not going to happen in a short period of time. And so I do want to set up the right expectations as well for everyone, because, in the trading space, everyone comes in and they're like, well, I'm going to start trading, and in, a month, I'm going to be the most profitable trader ever. Can you make money in 1 month? Yes, but there's a very high possibility you will lose that money because you have not went through the proper experiences, the proper approaches, and you just don't have the proper framework to continue, right? So let's start off with like the first few things, right? So one thing I want to highlight really heavily here is like, we as traders, we must have a proven process with a well-defined risk to have a shot at profitability. So if you do not have a proven process, a proven approach, and you are not managing the one thing we as traders can manage, which is risk, you will not, like, you just will not have a chance of being profitable. So just to like really nail this in everyone's head, what is one thing we as traders, and I want everyone to like comment it down, what is one thing we can control? Like when you take a trade, let's say you guys take a trade tomorrow, what is that one thing you're like, this is the only thing that is in my control? What is that thing? Let me see if I can see the comments for a second. People commenting. What's that risk? Risk, yes. Risk is the main thing that we can control, right? Obviously, you can control your entry, you can control your exit, but the thing you can control is risk. So you can say, well, if we all collectively, everyone in this chat collectively enters the same trade, the reality is not a single one of us here is going to have 100% confirmation if that trade is going to work in our favor or not. But the thing that we can all agree on that we will all be able to control is what we risk. One person might risk $200. One person may risk $2,000. One person may risk $500, right? That is something we can control. And I was talking about this yesterday, the day before yesterday, is like our job here is to stay alive and our job is to maintain our capital. So if risk is the first thing the only thing we can control, and we kind of amplify that this is the only thing we can and we should think about controlling. What this means is during this whole process, and once again, I'm going to reiterate this again, during this whole process, the thing we want to be very consistent on during stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 to kind of stage 4. Stage 4 is where risk starts to become dynamic, is we want to control what we are risking on every single trade. So I'll give you guys some examples, right? Let's just say, let me kind of like take this and let me put this in here. Let's just say we have 10 trades, right? And in all of those trades, if we risk 300, 300, 300, right? 300. And once again, the risk has to make sense. Like you can't start with a $2,000 account and say, I'm going to risk $1,000 per trade. Like you also have to make sense of what you risk. You have to make sure the risk element allows you to stay alive. Now, if you're risking $300 per trade, and let's say for argument's sake, you have a 10K account, or let's say you're risking $200, let's make it 2%, right? Now, essentially what happens is you can take more trades, and even if hypothetically you're wrong, which you will be a lot early on, and you will lose money early on, you allow yourself to kind of not dig yourself a hole. What happens with most traders is during these stages, they'll go in and they'll say, well, I want to go and I want to risk, I feel really good about this trade. I'm going to risk 3,000. And then immediately their drawdown goes from 200, 200, 200, 200, boom, 3,000. And now you're down 30% on your account. That's something while you guys are on these stages, once again, and I know I'm reiterating that, I'm doing it on purpose because I really want to nail it down. Do not let the risk element go away. Okay, so just wanted to optimize on that first. Now, let's go through each stage and let's go through stages one by one. And, I also want to know what stage does everyone think they're at, right? So once again, novice, you're a complete beginner. You don't really have any sort of record keeping. You don't have any insight from data. Stage 2 is you have data. You have some trades you've taken. The data is good data. You have some sort of strategy. You have some sort of edge. It works sometimes. It doesn't work sometimes. And that thing can be optimized. Stage 3, once again, is like the data's there. You've been journaling consistently. You've been doing weekly check-ins. Your metrics and risk reward ratios, everything else is pretty good. And the idea is to optimize. And then obviously phase 4 is like you have all of this good and you're just sizing up or down. What stage is everyone on? Like if you have to guess, stage 1, stage 2, developing, never mind developing. Okay. And we'll walk through all the stages, right? 1, stage 3, a lot of 1s and 2s, right? And some people in 2 and 3. All right. Okay. All right, cool. So some people saying zoom in, they can't see here. Let me zoom in. Okay, so now let's go to stage 1. So stage 1, right? So what are we ultimately doing in stage 1? This is when someone's a complete beginner, they have no foundation, right? And this is where we want to build up foundation, we want to build up education, we want to like maybe paper trade, we want to just kind of get familiar with the markets. The thing you should kind of have an idea on stage 1. And by the way, guys, if you're at any stage and you are unsure, I would just start from here again and start to go up. Because if you don't have things done properly here, you start to, you can never pass any of the other stages, right? So now when you go to stage 1, you have foundation, education, let's say you paper trade, you kind of build the markets you want to trade. So for example, you might say, I want to trade futures, right? I want to be a swing trader. I want to, my approach, for argument's sake, my approach to the market is order flow. This is your approach, whatever it is. And this is where you start to learn. This is where you start to get a good grasp of what you're doing, what direction it is. Now, if you don't have this foundation properly and you're here, or you think you're here and you're kind of confused, you're going to be stuck here forever, right? So another question, how many people that said they're on stage 2 or 3 or even 4 have been stuck in that stage for a really, really long time? And when I say a really long time, I'm saying you've been stuck on it for more than like 3, 4, 5 months. Yes. Yeah. So the reason you're stuck here is because, once again, anything on any of the previous stages aren't developed properly, right? So when I go to stage 1, this is the first thing everyone should have. Everyone here should know, like, what is my approach to the market? What markets am I trading? Like, for example, me, I trade equities and I trade futures, right? And obviously, in between that ecosystem, options kick in, which ties into equities and futures as well. But I am also day trading. I also use order flow. I am looking at the dynamics of the market, buyers and sellers, trying to look at who's more in control. That is kind of my quote unquote foundation. Now, after my foundation, I go on to data collection, right? So this is the most, outside of this, obviously everything, works in stages, is the most important part. And the reason this is the most important part is because if you do not have proper data collection, no matter what it is, you will not be able to understand your problems. You will not be able to understand what is working. You will not be able to understand what strategies work good when, and any things around that, right? So let's talk a little bit about data collection. So stage 1 is done, and now we go to data collection. So what is data collection, right? So data collection is something to first understand is there's something called good data and bad data, right? That's one thing. You can't, I think people look at data and they think data is kind of, it's similar, it's the same across all fields or all kind of setups and strategies and approaches, but there is a thing as good data and bad data. So let's talk about good and bad data, right? So if you have bad data, and let's just say you have a lot of data and it's bad, no matter what it is, you're going to be stuck in that same spot. You won't be able to get any insights from it. You won't be able to get any value from it. Now, if you have good data, you're able to identify your strengths. You're able to identify your weaknesses. You're able to identify certain things. Now, what do I mean by good and bad data? So let's talk about data in general. Data goes into all your trades that you are tracking. So, for example, anyone that thinks they're on stage 3 or even on stage 2, are you tracking any of your data? Do you have data? Who here has data on their trades? Like, if you have data, just say yes. If you don't, say no, right? So how many people, just to get a quick count, right? Now, the next thing is for people that think they have data, how many of you think you have good data and how many of you think you have bad data, or you don't know? If you don't know, say, hey, I don't know if it's good or bad, right? And we'll go into some of the good and bad data in a bit, right? Now, when we're talking about good and bad data, guys, this is where I think understanding some of the parts of what makes it good and what makes it bad. So this is an example of bad data. You have no setups, you have no playbooks. In other words, no strategy, right? Like, there's nothing that exists here. And even if you think you have a strategy, all your trades you take, like if I show you 10 trades, right? If I show, let's say, 10 trades, and I'm like, hey, can you identify what the setups or playbooks or strategies for these 10 trades are? And you have a big question mark of like, I don't know. You have data because you have the 10 trades, but it's bad data, right? So that's one. You don't have no setups, no playbooks, no strategy. Number 2 is your data is not around one market or a market. So for example, as I said to you guys before, let's just say with me, I'm saying, hey, I trade futures for argument's sake, right? If I trade futures. Now imagine I show you data that has Forex, that has crypto. Let's just say I tell you I day trade, right? Where I'm holding trades, for a couple of minutes to a couple of hours, let's just say. And when I show you my data, I have like trades I'm holding for 3 months. I have trades I'm holding for 3 minutes. I have trades I'm holding for like 3 weeks, whatever the case is. So now there's inconsistency of like my data, because now I have the data of 3 months, 3 minutes, 3 weeks. I have those trades that fit into data, but they're all bad data. It's not consistent, right? So like there's no consistency in the way we track something, and we can't have a fair comparison because it's not like a comparison between apples and apples, right? It's like apples and like mangoes or something. So we want to have that comparison to be consistent. That's why the good data matters. Now, what else? No max loss per trade, position size. So let's lay this out, right? Let's say you show me a trade, and like once again, I'll show you guys some examples, right? You guys show me a trade, or you guys show me your last 10 trades. In those last 10 trades, let's think about this for a second. You show me all 10 trades, and I look at what was the risk amount on those 10 trades. And you risked 300, you risked 3,000, right? You risked, I don't know, 500, right? You risked, 9,100 because you got crazy one trade, right? There's no consistency in risk. So now what happens is you have all of these trades that have especially in stage 1 to 3, right? Something I do want to emphasize on: when you do get to advanced and expert trading, your risk does become dynamic. So like, just gonna say that for all the people that are maybe on the advanced side, what that means is like for me right now in my stage of my trading, there's days like I will risk 30, 40 grand. And then there's days I'll maybe like be at 10, 15 grand. There's days or in trades, I'm risking like 80, 90 grand. That risk level becomes very dynamic based on the setups, based on the market conditions, based on the opportunities, based on, where my P&L is, and like if I'm able to afford taking that risk. So all of those things become problematic here. But while you are on these 3 stages, like that is not your concern. Your concern is not to be dynamic with risk. Your concern is just to get proper data collection, understanding what you're doing right and wrong, understand how you can become a more profitable and better trader with the information you have. And if you start to allow your risk to become dynamic during this period, your profitability or your unprofitability start becoming dependent on 1 or 2 trades, right? So example, once again, is if you risk 300, 3,500, 9,100, right? Your one good or bad trade here could make or break your trading. So for example, let's say you risk 300, and let's say you're making 2 times what you're risking, right? So if you risk 300, you're potentially aiming to make 600. If you risk 3,000, you're potentially aiming to make 6,000. If you're risking 500, you're potentially looking to make 1,000. If you're risking 9,100, you're potentially making 18,200. Now, this one outlier of a trade can either make you profitable or unprofitable for the month, right? Now, question for everyone: how many people here have traded for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, have done really well, and then you have that one day or 1 week where you give up all your month's profits or all your week's profits, or even sometimes you essentially blow your account? How many people have had them? Be honest for a second, right? Because I've had that in my early stage many, many, many times. How many people have had that happen to them, once again, that have gave away 2, 3, 4 weeks of profits in a day or a week or whatever the case is, right? 90%, exactly, right? So this is something that happens. And the problem is that people start to try to do dynamic risk when they shouldn't be doing. Like, this is the restriction that everyone should have. Like, here you should not be allowed. Like, you should have a mental mentor that is in front of you that's like, hey, you cannot dynamically risk right now. You have to keep your risk consistent. You have to be able to get out of these stages. Once you get out of these stages, then you can start to have dynamic risk. You are not at that expert or advanced level to adjust the risk size. You don't have the experience to know when market conditions get better or worse. You don't have the understanding of identifying really, really, really good setups to, okay setups, right? And obviously with markets, as you guys know, we have times where the market is really, really hot and we have good opportunities. And then we have times where opportunities are not the best and we just aim to survive and stay above water. Both conditions happen and we have to adjust to that. That's why the dynamic risk element is not something to think about. So risk is the other part. Once again, this is something like keep it consistent, keep it small, allow yourself to be wrong many, many times. And even if you are wrong many, many times, it doesn't blow your account or give away so many profits. You probably won't make a lot of money, but the idea in these 1, 2, 3 stages is not to make a lot of money, right? So, and then the time that you're trading the market. Right. I think that's also important. Once again, depends on trading style. I think this is kind of an open-ended thing. It applies to some people, it may not. But for example, for me, I like to trade from like market open, 9:30 a.m., right, to like 11 a.m. That's just personally me, my preference, me, not you guys, not anyone else. And I'm saying me because this is something that can be adjusted. I know people that sit on the computer all day and they trade, fine. I know people that sit until 12 or 1 that trade. I know people that get up at 11 and come back at 3. So it's okay to kind of adjust that. But I think starting off, have like that window, look for opportunities in that window. Now, because I trade essentially the first hour and a half, maybe 2 hours from the open, I have certain setups that kind of apply here. There's certain things that I'm looking for, and I know essentially what my playbooks and setups look like, right? And I'll talk a little bit about that too in a bit, and I'll show you guys stuff. Now, when I do all of this, what starts to happen is if I stay consistent with this, I start to have good data. If I don't stay consistent with this, I have bad data. Now, the reason the good data and bad data is important is because if I have good data, I can start saying, well, I'm risking 300 per every trade. I'm still, unprofitable. I'm seeing, it's my win percentage that's dragging me down. It's my, me not taking profits when I should. It's me selling at every little red candle that I see, or me having inconsistency in my entries or exits, or me holding my losers, right, longer. So like my average winner may be 20 minutes that I'm holding an average winner, and then losers I'm holding for 2 hours, right? So like I can start to see issues in my data. I can start to see anomalies that start to pop out. But if I have trades where I'm holding a trade for 3 months and 3 minutes and 3 weeks, like I'm not going to get any sort of stats that are going to be applicable in any sort of thing at all, right? So let's all agree on one thing. We want to have good data, right? So this is what all of this is. This is like take your trades, start to log, trade in the journal, put all the trades in the journal. I'll show you guys a little bit of TradeZella and stuff in a bit as well. Collect the right data. It's okay to be messy, right? This is a phase where you're taking trades, you're optimizing stuff, you're looking at things that work, you're looking at things that don't work. And you're just trying to collect as much as good data as possible, and not just taking on stupid trades that don't fit, your process and approach and everything else. Is everyone good with that so far? Cool. Okay, so data is good, very important. And if we don't have good data, once again, if you don't do this part, and I want to just re-emphasize on it again, and I'm sorry for re-emphasizing some things, it's one hammered. If you don't do this part well, you can think you're here, you can think you're here, you can think you're here, but like you're going to spend the next 3-4 years of your trading career, you're going to go up, you're going to come back, you're going to go up, you're going to come back. And like I've seen this, and like coming from like being in this industry for so long and speaking to many people and understanding stuff, I've seen this trend where, hey, Umar, I've been trading from 2020 and it's 2025 and I'm about to go to 2026. It's been 6 years and I'm still unprofitable. And when I just apply this one simple framework and I start to go through their data and I start to look at stuff, I'm like, well, you've been stuck here for 4 or 5 years and you haven't really moved into the other stages. But because you've been stuck here, you think you're here, and it's just never going to work, right? Okay, cool. Let's go on to optimization. So let's talk a little bit about that, right? And when we start to optimize, I'll give you guys some scenarios and then we'll walk through stuff. So here's like an example of good data, and we'll start to optimize things here, right? So good data, I have a playbook, I have set up. So for example, everyone here, who here has a well-defined playbook / setup / strategy? It's essentially the same thing, but like different wording. Who here has a well-defined strategy? Do you have it? If you don't have it, you can say I don't have it. I'm kind of confused, and that's totally okay, right? The idea here is to be honest and be totally like, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? And to talk a little bit about honesty, there's times like I trade, right? And like I'll have months or I'll have weeks where like nothing goes in my way. Like, I mean, absolutely nothing. And I go, damn, did I forget how to trade? And this is me trading after 12, 13, God knows how many years now. It's ancient. And that starts to happen, right? So even for you guys in early stages, you have to be very, very honest and say, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I don't have a proven process. And then the way to check that is you can say, if these are my 3 entry criteria and this is what I'm looking for, can I repeatedly make money doing the same thing over and over again? If you can't, then you don't have a good playbook or playbooks or setups or strategies. So once again, good data, playbook setup. So like I'll show you guys some examples. Opening drive playbook, morning top setup, right? And I don't want to go too much in strategies. Once again, I don't want to say there's one strategy that makes the most sense. I think these things are all up to you and what direction you take and whatnot. But I'm just kind of showing you one example of stuff. And instrument, what are you trading? For example, let's say futures, position size, let's say you're like 3 contracts. What's your max loss? $300. Once again, to simplify stuff, I am trading supply and demand, let's just say. That's like how my approach is to the market, right? This now starts to come into like good data, good approach that's consistent. Now, if something in that data does not look good, I can identify where it is messed up. Okay. Now, then we combine this when we go to like optimization, right? There's like this part, right? So we go from like data collection, we get the data. Also, to get good data collection, we need to have good processes. Once we have good processes, we have to go into like optimization, right? So like this is now where we're going from here to here. And in order to go from here to there, we have to know how to use the data collection, and we have to know how to go and start to optimize. That also comes in with a good approach. Like, what is your approach to all of this, right? So let's go to process. So I'll like walk you through a process, and like, you know, we can start to like talk a little bit about this. How do weeks look, right? So process is also important because process allows you to tie in your data, and allows you to identify missed opportunities. It allows you to look at your blind spots, and like, trust me when I say this, and like, you're gonna always have blind spots. You're gonna always miss stuff. It is not something that goes away, right? Like, there's parts of things here that I talk about that I know a lot of people, like even myself in year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. I was like, oh my God, another year, it'll probably go away. Another 2 years, I'll maybe get better at this. No, it doesn't happen. You just get better at dealing with the pain. You get better at just handling things. But I'd be lying to say that at this stage of my trading career, I don't make mistakes. That's not true. Like, I make like so many mistakes. Like if you guys saw days where I go on tilt, which I still do, you'd be like, holy shit, there's no way this guy's been trading for God knows however long he said. There's no way, right? So these things still happen. But the idea of the process is when you have a healthy process and you kind of go out of kind of the realm a little bit, you start to bring yourself back. So what I'm trying to say with this is sometimes you'll have days as humans, we will have periods where if like this is where we're trying to stay in, we may have sometimes where we go a little bit out, but good traders are able to bring themselves out. There's no such thing as, oh my God, great traders are going to stay in here forever. Like, do I follow my stop loss or my risk amount in every single trade? No, I messed up. And I'm not saying this to like allow you guys to think it's okay. I'm saying if and when it happens, your job is to quickly bring yourself back in. Your job is not to say, me as a human I'm going to make sure I never, ever, ever do this. And I will be so like disciplined and I will not make these stupid mistakes. You're going to make them. But my concern isn't if you make them. My concern is when you make them, how quickly you are able to come back into that natural process. Oh, you guys can't see when I type or when I draw. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I didn't know you guys couldn't see when I'm drawing. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll just type. So as I was saying, let's go over process. So my process, the way it starts, and once again, when I say my process, I don't want you guys to be stuck with like, this is the way it should be. I think find your own process, find your own rules, find your own things, depending on your trading style and your approach. So I like to use Sundays as like my day to like prep and review last week. Right. So this is, for me, it's very important. So one thing is like, what does last week look like? Like, and this is where process becomes very important, where when I'm reviewing my last week, I'm reviewing my stats and I'm reviewing markets. I want to say, hey, what has happened with the market last week? What was the things that moved the market? What are my key levels that, the market was really, really focused on and really, drove towards? How did I trade last week based on my stats, based on my performance, based on my notes, based on my approaches, all that stuff. And like, I'll spend a good 3 to 6 hours, depending on the data of the week. There's weeks I don't really trade. I'm flat. I don't have much. There's weeks I'll have a lot of trades. There's weeks there's a lot of things for me to go through and process and check. So this time becomes a little bit contingent. But this is like a non-negotiable day for me, where like I have to sit down, I have to look at the overall market. I have to kind of come up with something that's happening. And it's okay when you start out, you're going to be wrong in a lot of stuff, and that's totally fine. For example, this week. So when I go to Sunday this week, right? Like I'll share my thought process this week, and like, don't hold me to it. But like we'll see what happens. But my process this week is obviously we have FOMC, as you guys see. We're expecting rate cuts, right? And what my thought process is, and this once again, like I'm sharing this with you guys because I want to share how my mind processes these things. So we have FOMC this week. We're expecting rate cuts. And I, at times, like to create scenarios that I think may possibly happen. My scenario that I think is going to happen, and once again, as I say, I could be totally wrong, and I'm aware that I could be wrong. I think when we get rate cuts, we maybe get a quick market pump, the market afterwards starts to sell off. So the sentiment that I'm looking for, an ideal situation I'm looking for, is that I think rate cuts are priced in. And I'm not trying to go too far left with this. So like I'm going to say at a certain point, if rate cuts happen, which they're anticipated to happen, and this is a very big event, the market, because it's so priced in and the news starts to happen, the market starts to possibly sell off that day or Thursday. So like the day I'm looking to trade this week, like the day I care about is Thursday. Thursday and Friday, like the 2 days, like I care to trade this week. That's for me. Right now, I also create this prep for the week and idea for the week with the economic news of like, hey, I could be wrong. I know I could be wrong, right? So if I do take these trades, I have to have a dollar count, let's say 20K, right? I have a dollar count that if I'm wrong on this particular trade or this setup, I'm risking 20K. Now, if it's a setup or a day where I'm really comfortable and I have a higher probability, and like the market kind of shows me signs of like it opens up on Thursday, it opens up weak, and we start to sell off in the first 15, 30 minutes, fine, my risk might go higher. But there's an element of like, hey, what price am I willing to pay? If I'm wrong, what am I willing to take? Right? And this also comes with the idea of like, I can be wrong, right? And I will be wrong many, many times. And once again, I'm sharing this with you guys not to go into FOMC rate cuts and this whole storyline around it, but I'm going into it more so because when we as traders approach the market, and if I approach this week with this like game plan of like, I know this is going to happen, I know for sure this is going to happen, like I'm so confident, I start to mess up my risk, I start to become too biased, I start to go on too much at one side. Now let's just say in a perfect world I do that, right? Let's just say in a perfect world I do that. Because I have a process and I have written down my notes around this, I can go back next Sunday and I can say, why was I so blinded and why was I so one-sided on this particular trade? Oh, I was so biased. What made me so biased? What made me so focused on this? Why was I so stuck on this idea? Why was it that I essentially wanted to risk 20K and I ended up risking 50K? What changed here? So now it's not about, the idea here isn't about me beating myself up. I'm not like my job is not to beat myself up. My job is to always go, what can I learn from this? Either it can be about me or about the markets, right? Two things. Sometimes like you may not, markets are irrational. You cannot justify what happened. But then sometimes you could learn something about you. Hey, like I'll share something that I've learned about myself, and I still have. When I become too biased in a certain direction, I can get blinded. I make that mistake even today, right? So once again, I might go into a trade and I might say, I think the market's gonna sell off. I start to look for every sell-off opportunity. So I have to bring myself back into that range of being able to think from a clearer point of view, right? So this is how I start my Sundays. And once again, it sounds a lot, but it's just ultimately a game plan of what I'm looking for the upcoming week. What does that upcoming week look like? What is my thought process? And the reason the thought process is important, how I got to that conclusion or why I'm thinking that, is because the next Sunday that comes, I want to make sure I can understand what made me think that, what made me come to that conclusion, not so I can go in a room and be upset at myself, so I can go as a human and say, what am I missing about myself? What am I overlooking? What are my mental blind spots? What are things that I'm not understanding as a trader, right? That's how ultimately my Sundays start. Then we go on to daily. So because I day trade, I have daily game plans. right? I have daily game plans, and now this is also very important. And once again, all of this that I'm tying, it goes into one simple question: is what can I learn? The idea is not to be right, but to collect data and use that data. Like that this is like the mindset and the framework. We are not trying to be right, especially when you're in like these stages. Your job isn't to be right. Your job is to collect data and learn how to utilize that particular data, right? Then I go to daily game plans. My daily game plans start to look from a point of, okay, so what is happening in the pre-market event? So if I trade today, which is Tuesday, what is the pre-market news, right? Pre-market news. What are names I'm watching, right? I'm watching, let's say, Tesla. Why am I watching Tesla? As you guys have been watching Tesla, Tesla has momentum behind it. Elon just bought $1 billion of that stock, even though it sends a signal to the industry, and he has a new pay package of 8.5 trillion valuation. He gets paid out. Him buying $1 billion of stock is going to create a sentiment of like, look at this guy. He's backing this thing up so much. He has so much confirmation, drives more money flow, drives more confirmation, creates some bullishness, news around it, and that impacts price action. So that's the name I'm watching. What is my game plan for this? That's where I start to build that. And the idea here is once that's done, at the end of the day, I go back and I review that. Hey, I was watching Tesla. This is what I was watching with Tesla. What happened? Did I miss something? Did I overlook something? Did I become too biased about something? Was I not understanding, like, what was it that I missed? Oh, wow, today Tesla didn't move much. Oh, it makes sense. We have FOMC this week. Why did I not think that? Market goes very flat when we have FOMC. All cash goes side. Like, we're not going to have movements. Why would I take a trade today? Okay, lesson learned. When it's FOMC week, don't trade. Just not saying don't trade, but that's just something like I would look at and I would start to see, and I would kind of base my trading around this. So in that element of process, these things start to really, really, really play a big role into driving stuff, right? And then also in terms of my process, when I'm looking at trades, like I want to walk you through a little bit of this part as well, and then I'll go into some notes and other stuff. Is when I'm taking trades, and this goes across every type of trading style: day trading, swing trading, position trading, whatever, scalping, whatever. I like to set up my kind of trades from the point of like, if I'm looking to go short on ES, right? I'll say looking to go short on ES if I see an imbalance in price of 44.52, let's just say, or around that range. 44.60 is a huge volume from the week before, and this is how my game plans would look like. Another thing I'll help you guys a lot with when you guys are trading and you're like in front of your screen and you're looking to take a trade, right? This thing is like going to help you massively. And like when you go through this afterwards, it's going to be like legitimately game changing. Like I do this for myself even today, right? Especially when I go on tilt. Like when I have tilt days and I go on like crazy drawdown periods, I must do this thing to get myself out of it, because once again, as humans, our minds screw us over many, many times, right? So sometimes when I trade, I will write out what I'm thinking, right? And it doesn't have to be too complicated. It can be looking to go long at 4,500 because I'm seeing strength on. I don't want to get too on this. This is what's giving me this. My playbook is setting up good, and my checklist is aligning, right? Like that. Like I'll start writing it. Sometimes when I get a little bit confused, and this is what has helped me, if I'm going long in a trade, I'll start to reverse that and say, what would make me go short? What would make me take the opposite trade? And I have to give an answer. It's like prompting ChatGPT. You must give me an answer. So you essentially prompt your brain and you say, I'm looking for a long to go on Tesla, but if I was to go short right now, what would that be? And then like I might say Tesla is overextended for the past 5 days. We may see a pullback. I may say we have FOMC, so we might get some weak action. Then I start to compare my two theses, and I'm like, well, I still think the long one makes more sense. The reason I'm anchoring with this is because, as I said before, because I get unbiased, I get biased sometimes. I have to create anchors for myself to be like, oh, am I being biased right now? Am I missing, some key information? Because I'm looking for. There's a word for confirmation bias. It's like when you want to go long in a particular trade, for example, and you want to believe that's the trade or that's the thing you want to be true. You look for all the signals that tell you that is true. Like, for example, I can sit here and I can say, water is really bad for you. If you go on Google and you ask, is water healthy for me? It'll tell you all the ways water is healthy for you. And if you go on Google and you say, is water unhealthy for you? It'll tell you all the ways water is unhealthy for you, right? But what it'll miss out is that if obviously if you overconsume water, it's naturally unhealthy for you. If you're drinking 10 gallons a day, it's extremely unhealthy for you. So naturally, your brain in situations like this, you start to look for confirmation bias on what you want. So if you have a setup that you want to go long in, you align and look for everything that starts to make it make sense to go long, right? So me writing stuff out helps me a lot, makes things so much better for me. Just kind of shows me what is going on and kind of takes things from there. I know we're running a little bit behind on time, so I'm just going to be a little bit. So for example, this is how big news. What does the market need to look for now? CPI report a week, FOMC Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, risk off day. So like I'll have days on where I'm risk on, risk off. Wednesday, Thursday, market reacts. We digest it. Let me just go through. So here's like an example of like maybe a setup, right? Let me go through another example. So here, I'll go through this example, right? So here's a playbook example, right? And I want to kind of touch a little bit here as well. And all of this, once again, goes into the data collection part and the optimization part. Now, when I go through some of my trades, right, there's a few things. Like, for example, if I have morning top reversal, for people that have been following me, I've probably heard this trade name. The name doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. What matters is your entry rules and exit rules, right? So let's just say I have a morning top reversal, right? So ultimately, in simple theory, what am I looking for, right? I'm looking for weakness on the open. Once again, I use order flow. Don't want to get too much into that. But because I use order flow, if I identify weakness, that weakness will give me a signal to short the market. So essentially, we get a gap down day, we get a rejection at key level. The rejection at key level, I would have to confirm that rejection comes from a place of weakness from buyers and sellers. And then obviously, if there's no follow through of aggressive buys, and that setup starts to happen, right? If you look at another one, we get a gap down, rejection at key level, no follow through, price starts to move down. Same exact thing, relatively same play. Morning top gap, we gap down, see weakness as we move up, we start to sell off. The idea that I'm trying to show here, if you guys look at the consistency of the setups, they're relatively very similar. They follow a similar process. They follow a similar approach. So this goes to everyone else's here as well. So unless you have these approaches with proper data collection, you cannot ever optimize and know what are things you have to do accurately and things you don't. So getting that part down is extremely, extremely important. Same thing with trading setup examples. I'm not going to go too deep into that. Don't want to go into that either. It's going to be all right. So what I'll do right now, I'll show you guys a little bit about setting things up here, and we'll start to go into like breaking down some data and breaking down how things work, and you guys will see how everything starts to line up. So like here I have my, can everyone see? Everyone can see? All right, so let's just say I start to go here and like, and I'll probably show you guys a way to start looking at some data and how things will start to align, right? So me as a trader, if I'm looking at my data, there's a few things that matter. Like I always say, the biggest thing for every trader is it depends on your average win to loss ratio. What is your average win to loss, right? Is it 1.2? Is it 2? Is it 3? Essentially what this means is what are you making per trade? What are you losing per trade? So let's say I look at this data, right? If I look at this data, there's a few questions I have, and this all applies to everyone, right? Everyone can kind of start to get value from here. When I look at this, what this starts to showcase to me, no, we can't see. Oh shit, sorry. Sorry, I wasn't seeing. Please zoom it in. Okay, hold on. Let me share. Let me reshare. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Let me just share this. Shit. Just give me 1 second. Is it loading? Okay. Why is this not working?
Quick thing.
What's that?
We do have 3 people's trading stats for you to break down. Just whenever you're ready. We've got 3 prepared and some slides. So I'll have the team pop it up whenever you're ready. Just letting you know.
Perfect. I will do that right now. Let me just hit the share entire screen window. All right. Can you guys see my window?
Give the team just a second. Okay, yeah. All right, team, you guys can pop me off again.
Okay, cool. So I'll go through a little bit here, and I'll start to, as I was saying, I wanted to go over some trading stats and stuff, and just once again, all of this applies to everyone, just to understand. So if I look at this kind of data here, there's a few things that people start to look at, right? People always go at data and they look at 71K, great, I made money, phenomenal. I think that's the worst way to start to look at data. I think the way to analyze data is to go deeper into stats. If I look at this particular thing here, I would start to go, well, what are some of my problems? Some of my problems are, number one, my average win to loss is 1.2, meaning I'm making about 6K per trade, I'm losing about 5K. This long-term wise is not sustainable. I got to get this number up higher. Right now, what do I start to do for that? I want to start going into all of these trades individually, which I'll show you in a second, and I want to start to analyze them. I want to say, the trades that I'm making money on, am I actually maximizing the most money I can make on them? Am I selling them a little bit too early? Am I buying too late? Like, what is happening here? Maybe my risk amount is good, but I'm not maximizing my winning trades. Second problem could be, am I following my stop loss, right? If your stop loss or your risk amount per trade is 3K and your average loss is about 5K, why are you losing 5K if your risk amount is 3? What is going wrong here? Like, those are the immediate things, right? Second is, when I look at this and I see max drawdown is 54,000 and your net P&L is 71,000, it's like, okay, well, what happened here, right? So if I go into this particular data right here, you start to see, okay, we're up at 114K. We start to have a big nosedive. What caused that nosedive of a trade, right? If I go into that trade, all right, negative 26K on this day, right? What happened maybe on this day? Negative 5,200, right? What happened on this day? 15,000. What led me to have this drawdown? And the reason the processes are very important is because these drawdowns are going to happen, guys. But people or traders that have good processes, they can shift away from a bad trading day and come back, or a bad trading week and come back. People that don't have a process, they end up just going on a massive tilt for many, many, many weeks or many, many months. And that's something we want to avoid as traders. And the way we avoid it is, once again, by having that process. So for me, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go through data, I'll go through trades, and I'll start saying, well, okay, let's start understanding some trades, right? So if I look at some particular trades, let's just say, I'll give you guys 2 examples, right? So if I look at this trade, it's like, wow, I lost. Once again, I'll show you some of my data, and this is not all of this is in my data, but you'll see how I lost $29. When I go to this trade, I'll say, wow, I was up maybe $60 on this trade. If I go to this trade and I want to analyze it, I'll say, wow, I made $1,600. And this is the first thing every trader looks at. They'll look at a trade and they'll say, wow, I made $1,600, great. But then when I start to go into that trade and I start to look at, how much I was down, or was I down, or what that, position of that trade looks like, you're like, well, why was I down $600? Why was I not profitable in that trade? How much was I down? How much was I up? What was my running P&L of that particular setup? So even if I go here, let's just say, if I look at this trade, right? Let's just say this trade, you made $2,100. You go to it, you're like, well, I was down 2,400 at one particular point. And then you start to go, wait, what was my risk amount, right? I risked $689 on this trade, but I was down over $2,000 at one point. Was this a good trade or was this a bad trade? This was a terrible trade. Despite me making money on this, this was a bad trade. And this goes back to my point that I was saying early on of you just being honest, right, with yourself. And I'll go through a lot of my data and a lot of my trades sometimes, and I'm like, okay, well, what happened here, right? Hey, I essentially lost 29 grand on this particular trade. What happened? So here's one trade. I'll walk you guys through it. Lost 29,000. Right? What are the things that went wrong? That's what I want to really talk about. I plan to risk $8,100 on this trade, right? Like once again, that's what I plan to risk. I lost 29,000. I lost 3 times essentially more than what I planned to lose, right? And what was my setup, right? Opening sell-off. Did we get the opening sell-off? What was my execution like? Did it make sense? What happened? Like, those things start to kind of kick in on this particular trade. That starts to make sense. And then obviously, even if I go on this trade, I spend most time in drawdown. This trade spent about 92% of its total time in negative P&L. Like, now imagine you see this happen so many times. Like, imagine I give you 100 of your trades and I say, hey, out of 100 trades, 80 of them you spend most time in drawdown. Boom, something clicks up. Well, if I'm spending most time in drawdown, that means my entries are bad. I'm taking bad trades. I'm getting in too late. Maybe I'm chasing when the play is already done. Like, you start to know what to go into. Another thing might be you held on to a loser. This trade lasted 24 minutes, while half your losing trades in the past 60 days lasted less than 1 minute. It also ended in a larger than average loss. So, like, I'm not losing at this point. I'm not losing 29K per trade. Now it's like, what happened here? What happened on this particular day, right? So that's where, when you start to go through data and you start to look through it individually, you start to realize, like, well, even days when I am making money, right? If, like, let's just say I do have a day where I, let's say, lost 21, and you guys can see this trade, I've essentially lost money and I put no setup. I had no setup on this trade, right? Like, I'll say, like, hey, there was no setup. This is like, look at the entries and exits. It's just messy. It's all over the place. I put no setup because, once again, I'm being honest. Like, hey, this is a day where I didn't have a setup. And then the trade after, I also made money, right? I made 32,000. I put no setup. So, like, when I go to this trade and I evaluate this trade, I'm able to go and I'm able to say, hey, there was no setup. There's no thing associated with this particular trade. And I can essentially be honest with myself and move on from that, right? And then also, if you guys want to replay some of your trades, if you have any trades, you took PLTR trade, you want to replay that action, you can replay that same action. You can go back in time. I know we have a giveaway for TradeZella later today, but if you guys do want to track your trades, do want to kind of have a place, this is a trade I took many years ago, and I can go back to the entries and exits. It'll show me where I entered, where I exited for that particular stock, and I can just relearn that same setup over and over again. So that's ultimately a lot of TradeZella is for you guys, just to go back. You guys can also back test if you want to, find out strategies, create sessions, have strategies, and trade them, go through them, and so on. I know we're short on time, so we're gonna go over some of the trades. Tori, you want to share your screen on the trades?
Okay, yes. Give me just a second. We're going to have the team pull up. I think we've got 3 ready. Okay, cool. Team, if you guys could maybe change the, yep, sweet. Okay.
I will stop sharing screen.
All right, Umar, let me know if you can see these.
Yeah.
Also, team, if there is any chance that you guys have the information on whose data this is, I think they'd be nice to know. I mean, it'd be pretty exciting to know that Umar Ashraf broke down their trading stats. But you can put that in the back end comments. But this is it. This is the first one we got, Umar.
Okay, so there's more information I would obviously need to evaluate stuff. And what I want to do is, it's hard to give answers just off this data. One, I don't think there's enough data set for me to really be critical, but I want to have questions for people to ask, and I want everyone to ask questions about themselves, right? So one is, I think whenever you have a good profitable day or a profitable trade, the question to ask, and this can be wide for everyone, was that a good loss or was that a good profitable trade? And what I mean by that is, if you have a day, let's just assume that September 3rd, this person made $233. Let's assume that on this day, I can't click on it and see right now, but if you want to TradeZella, I maybe could. But let's just say on September 3rd, this person was down $1,000 but made $233. Let's just assume that. Now, I'm not looking at this from a point of I made 2K in the week. I'm looking at it from the same concept that I said before, is what can I learn from this week? What are the things I did right? What are the things I did wrong, right? And when I start to look at that, I'm like, well, I made $233 this day, but I was down $1,000. This was a terrible day. What went wrong? That's number one. Number two is when I do look at a lot of data, and once again, you need to have a good amount of data collection. I think if you have like a week or 2 weeks of data, it's not enough. Like I would at least have 3 months of data to start to see patterns, to start to see inconsistencies, or start to see things that do work.
Yeah.
The second thing is on all of these trades, once again, for whoever data this is, and let's assume this is all of our data, what's the setups that were used on all the trades? Were the setups consistent, right? So if let's say all of the setups in this trade, the trading strategy, there were two like opening range drive or like morning top setup, and those are the two setups. Were the trades consistent in terms of identification, in terms of entry, in terms of the setup and everything? If they were consistent, that's great. That's phenomenal, right? My other question that comes down to here is like, what was the running P&L of all these trades, right? What were these trades like on Monday, September 1st, the person made $845. Was that trade immediately in profit, or did that trade spend 30 minutes in drawdown? Like what did that look like? My other question now goes into like, what were your average winning trade stats, right? What was your average hold time in winning trades? Was there consistency to that, right? Another thing I look at, and I think everyone should kind of challenge themselves in trading, is I always say you don't realize how good a trader is by their profitable periods. You realize how good a trader is during their unprofitable period. So when they go and draw down, how quickly they're able to bounce back, how quickly they're able to realize they messed up. Because like we as traders are going to mess up from here till forever as long as we trade. So when we do mess up, how quickly are we able to identify like, hey, this is what I messed up on. I had a drawdown on the 11th, $289, not the biggest thing, but what if it was 2K? How did I let it get to 2K? How did I adjust to 2K, right? And also, once again, like there needs to be a good amount of data collection for you to have some good, valuable insights, in my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. And as far as setups go, maybe instead of, opening drive, I don't know what that means, but let's assume maybe it's a break and retest, or it's a trend line break or a trend line bounce.
Any setup. Wow, the next one, a lot of red.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
A lot of red.
Okay, what do we got here?
Oh man, just wow.
This is looking rough. It's a rough and tough one.
So let's look at the positives. There's some positives here first, right? The one positive is the losses are relatively consistent of like max $100, right? Okay, so that's kind of good, right? The good thing about this data, once again, is this person has not had one or two trades that blew their account. Okay, so a lot of times that when I see bad data, it's like, losing 100, then you have a day where you lose like 5K. And that just kills performance, right? So that's the one upside that I see here, which is like, hey, you are maintaining risk to be somewhat consistent. Okay, win percentage is terrible. So I think the big question that comes into data that looks similar to this is like, what are the setups? How are you not able to execute those setups? Like, what is happening with these trades? Are you actually maximizing these trades to its full potential? Are you taking the right trades, right? Because all of these trades that have happened could be the worst trades possible, and they're just ultimately kind of not working out. So they are managing the risk correctly, in my opinion. That's good, but they're just taking terrible trades because it's like you have 30%, 35% win percentage, and that's okay. The 35% win percentage isn't the end of the world, but I think if you have a trading approach where you're looking for a smaller win percentage, your average win to loss ratio has to make sense. Where for this person, it's not even a 1. So the problem here is like your average win to loss is not even a 1. Your win percentage is 35%. If this person keeps trading this way, they're going to keep losing money. What I would do here is obviously I would go through every single trade individually and say all my losing trades, were they trades that fit a setup criteria, playbook, whatever the case is, or no? I would separate both of them. I would say, well, out of these, give or take, there's 80 trades. Out of these 80 trades, 40 of them, or let's say are losers, or not even, let's just say 50 are losers. Out of the 50 trades, only 20 of them worked with a good setup. They actually applied. The other 30 didn't make sense. So now what you start to do is you start to alter your data a little bit. You start to say, well, I have 50 losing trades. I take the 20 good losing trades out and I eliminate the 30 bad ones. What does my data look like now? So what's the one mistake I'm making? One mistake is I'm just taking a lot of stupid trades. So if I cut down my stupid trades that I take that don't fit my playbook, my win percentage maybe goes up 55%. My average win-loss ratio goes up 1.4. And once again, this person isn't going to magically become profitable, but a lot of times you can work through the process of elimination, eliminating some of that data you have and saying, well, this shouldn't have been taken. This should have been taken. And when you start to alter that a little bit, you start to see what would your data look like if you did take the right trades, right? And then I would look at it. If none of these trades make sense, then it's just like, okay, the only thing this person is doing right is the risk management is good.
True.
And which is allowing them to last for as long as they're lasting. But it's still something to go into individual trades to see what that is. I would also look at the trades that had big wins, because I'm seeing like 2-3 trades of 250. Were those anomalies? Were those something that they set up?
Mm-hmm.
And that requires this individual to spend a day, Saturday or Sunday, of going through all of these trades one by one.
I mean, at least they have the data, so they can start to comb out what's not working.
Yeah, but the question here comes like, is this good data or is this bad data?
Right.
Like that's questioning. Is this good data or is it bad data? So I would go into these trades and individualize them and see, right? Because like when someone sees this, it's right away, oh, I'm not good at trading. Sure, fine, but is it you're not good at trading, or your data or the trades you've taken weren't good trades? Now, if I was to go through all of these trades individually with this person, right, and I was to like break down what was actually part of their playbook or their approach they have, if they have one, and we start to eliminate the ones that don't, this data might look very different, might look better. Then you start saying, well, my strategy or approach does work. It's just sometimes I overtrade and I take stupid trades and I take trades that don't fit my setup. Or the other part is like, this person has no strategy. They're just doing a bunch of random trades, but they're managing the risk well, which is once again the only good part.
I mean, at least there's something here. Okay, so the risk is good. All right, we're gonna move on to the last one here. Give me just a second. Let me get the team to scoot it over. I think we've got one more. Oh, and also we've got a lot of comments in the chat that we may have to do this again, but next time you break down my trades. Okay. So maybe we got a part 2 here.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. Okay, here we go. This one helps a little bit more. I feel like we can see a little bit more data here.
Yeah, this one's a little bit better, but also once again, like I think the dashboard is cool, but in order to really dig deep, and this is for everyone to dig deep, you have to individualize the trades and days and see what everything looks like. So obviously, when you look at it from a higher level, the last thing I'm looking at, just to go where my eye is going, that matters the most, is the first place I'm going is what is the average win to loss ratio, right? It's a 1, which to me is like you're making the same amount relatively to what you're losing, which is a problem. That's an area of impact. That's an area that people should work on immediately, right away, right? The second part is I'm looking at the losses, how the losses turn out. I'm seeing a little bit of inconsistency in losses. Like I think the largest losing day looks like it's $400. You have some like 300. I'd be curious to know why that $400 day happened. The other thing I would look at, and this is also important, those 2 really big green days, right? Was that planned or was that just luck? Like, was that like actually dynamically risking the trade? Like you had dynamic risk, or was it just like you oversized when you shouldn't have? And the reason I say that is because 2-3 trades that weren't planned and that were random can alter data. And those trades, those 2 trades could be the reason why this account looks like it's up $2,400 compared to maybe $1,200. Mm-hmm. Right. And like, as I said, when you get to stage 4 and 5, those are the trades and outliers that help you grow your account and help you do well. But is this person on that stage of doing that? Was that planned? Was that by random? If that was random, then it's a problem, because you don't want to have random events in your trading data that weren't essentially planned to alter your data. Right. It's the same thing if you have a big drawdown and it alters your data. It's like, well, I was trading really good and I screwed up. Yeah, it's the reality of trading, but like, how do I avoid this to happen again? Right? Because those 2 trades where this person may be oversized could have went the other way. Now, if it went the other way, instead of this looking like a P&L of $2,300, it would have been a P&L of maybe even the negatives, right? Those could have been negative $1,000 days and like accounts blown, right? So that like just immediately what pops up in my eye is obviously obviously those things. I always also look at things from a risk perspective. Uh, even when I have winning trades and I see people have winning trades, my question is always, you've been making $500 per day on a trade, or per trade, or per day, whatever, and then randomly you have a 4K day. Wait, hold up, timeout.
Yeah.
Let's go into that 4K day. What did you risk? Now, if you're like, oh, I risked $500 and this trade just worked out in my favor, great. But if you go and you're like, well, I risked 4K to make that 4K, or I risked 5K to make that 4K, I'm like, wait, hold up. So you're telling me this one trade could have impacted a lot of performance? Like, this is something we need to guardrail for moving forward. It's not the end of the world, but like moving forward, we need to protect that we don't do this again. We because once again, as I said before, we're all gonna make mistakes. I make mistakes. You guys are gonna make mistakes. It's gonna happen. But the idea is, how do we have guardrails that when these mistakes happen, we don't go on a crazy tilt down, over and over again. So when you guys look at your data, these are questions. Big losses, what triggered them? Why did I have this $400 loss? As I said very, very early on, beginning of all of this, is we can control our losses. If you can control your losses, why did you have a $400 loss? Was that planned? If it was planned, that's another conversation. If it was not planned, that's where it becomes a little bit problematic, right? So that would be it. But I would individualize all the trades. Make sure there's a playbook with the trades. Make sure you have your entry rules, exit rules, and just, if you spend a day with like 100 trades that you have, and you start to go through all of those trades, I promise you're going to have the biggest breakthrough in your trading in terms of just identifying your own stupidity. And like, I still have my own stupidity. Like, I could talk
Dude,
about
you
it
and me both.
for hours, right?
All right. Okay. So, I mean, I guess essentially, based on the information that we've been able to see so far, like, yes, we can go off your average win to loss. The profit factor is fairly important in the win percentage based on how many trades you've got and what your average win to loss is helpful. But I think Umar's point here is just like, there's got to be so much more information. We got to see each setup. Are you tracking good data versus bad data? Do you have something that's consistent? Were these random $400 days actually random? What was the risk for them? So just being able to go back and identify what all of these trades have in common. Like, is this a good system? This is hard for even Umar to tell just by looking at this dashboard, because we need to go further into each trade and see. Sweet.
Yeah. The thing with all your trades you guys take, right? And you guys can do it in a notebook, do it wherever. I'm not saying to do it on this particular platform, but every trade you guys take, you guys should have, like, if you have, let's say, 20 trades, you should have, hey, what was the strategy or setup for this trade? And I think then you go back and you say, was that actually the approach, or am I just saying it was the approach? And I think if you look at 20, 30, 40 trades and you start to see the consistencies or inconsistencies of that, you start to realize, like, oh shit, like, this setup isn't actually good. Like, it doesn't really make sense, or I can't execute this setup, right? There's two parts of it. One is like, does this setup or strategy make sense? But the second is like, you cannot execute it. When the strategy or setup approaches, you wait 20 minutes. When the move is done, you get into late, or you get into early, or any red candle shakes you out. And these are things where, once again, as I said before, look at things from a point of, what can I learn from this? What can I take away? And how do I ultimately get better? And you use that loop over and over again.
Deal.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Umar. You actually ended up being right on time. So way to go.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was thinking about time. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna.
No, you're doing amazing. Yeah. And thank you so much for your time, Umar. We appreciate it. And I feel like everyone in the chat today was writing down notes. Everyone was incredibly respectful of your time, just like I am. So thank you so much again for sharing. And thanks you for I'm getting nervous.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I will be hopping off. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, and enjoy.
Awesome. Thanks, Umar.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, give me a second. My team's going to get some slides up. My camera, I think. Okay, there we go. So first, let's make sure everybody's here. I got some quick questions to make sure that you guys were actually utilizing Umar's time. So I got some questions for you. I was taking notes, so I hope you guys were as well. First question for you guys. What stage are you in? So this is going back to when Umar was first starting, going through these 5 stages. What stage is everyone in? Dude, I know my team is fast. My team's good. They're on it. Okay, I need to see. We've got a lot of 1s. We've got a few 2s. Someone's got a 2 and 3. Amazing. Let's go. Okay, so you guys were paying attention here. Okay, check number 1. You guys passed. I'll take it. Okay, and then the next thing, I want you guys to give me a few examples of bad data. What is a few examples of bad data here? And I'll wait in the chat. I got to make sure you guys got all of this information down. I wrote my examples down. What are a few examples of tracking bad data? Or not tracking at all. There we go. Random entries, not tracking at all. Yes. No setups. That's what I wrote down. No setups. Not being consistent. Yes. I wrote that down as well. My answer is different strategies. That's correct as well. Inconsistent risk. Okay, good. You guys are paying attention. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Mine was no setups, no strategy, inconsistency, and not proper risk management every time. Remember, we need to keep the variables small. So this was really cool to even see that a trader like Umar has some of the same like main goals here when it comes to trading. Variables small. Make sure you're tracking. Make sure we're consistent. Okay, now what are some examples of good data? What is good data to track that is helpful, that is conducive? There we go. Good data, proper risk management. There it is. The same risk, correct. Consistent risk. Strategy. Several strategies would be technically, well, I guess if you were tracking each one separately to see which one works, then yes, I can see that. The time of day. Okay, amazing answers, guys. Mine was making sure that there are a small amount of variables. That's good data. Consistent risk size, even like hold times, types of setups, even the instruments you're trading. This is all good data. This means that it's keeping the variables small so we can, if we need to make one small change, we can see a direct result or a direct reflection of that small change. Okay, way to go, guys. Now, I've got a very last question. We went over good data, bad data, what stage you are in. And the last one is, how important is data collection? How important is data collection? This one is a no-brainer. And while I've got you guys figuring out, boom, exactly. Very important, if not one of the most important. I'd say besides keeping your capital, tracking your data is right up there. Huge, key. All right, next question that I have for you guys is, so these were my questions. These were my main points that I got out of it. But now, what are some of your favorite parts that you got from Umar's session today? What are some of your favorite key points? Maybe a note that you had to circle, that you underlined because it was incredibly helpful for you. What is one of your favorite parts from Umar's session today? Let's see what we've got. That data collection is a gold mine. Absolutely. Someone said seeing the features of TradeZella, not writing down losses. Correct. You should be writing down the losses. TradeZella functionality. Okay, cool. I could tell a lot of the newbies were like, I don't know what's going on here. And I was like, bear with me, guys. He's on a different level. He's on another level. I did ask him at the beginning. I said, listen, don't scare my newbies away because I got a lot of them. Okay, but you guys did amazing. All right, having a weekly process. Correct. Yes. Filtering the data. Having a playbook. Highlighting something. It's already gone. I didn't even get to see it. Trading history. Data collection. Awesome. All right, guys. How's everybody feeling? Are we good? Are we good to go? It's been an absolutely incredible 3 days with you guys. I'm beyond proud. Like, a lot of these comments that I'm seeing, or a lot of these users, I'm recognizing from even day one. So like being able to go back and see like Mr. Frost that we use as an example, or maybe it was Mr. Hope, but like seeing you guys still here and show up is one of the absolute coolest things. I'm so proud of you guys. But now, based on these three days, knowing what you guys know now, are you happy that you showed up? I'm thrilled. I'm proud. I feel like Mama Bear. I'm ecstatic. Are you happy that you showed up to these 3 amazing days so far? Melvin Dew is happy. Let's go, Melvin. Okay, we got the ginger, 100%. Okay, I'm so excited for you guys. You did it. Now, it is time for me to hold up my end of the deal, the moment you guys have all been waiting for. And the coolest part is more than half of you guys are going to be able to join part of this giveaway. It's like a coin flip. You guys are going to be able to win something from today. It's time for the giveaways. So let's do it. 5,000 of you guys, 5,000 of you, which also there's probably so much more in the chat. 5,000 of you guys that attended all 3 days are going to be eligible for this giveaway. 5,000 Apex accounts are being given away. So congratulations, guys. You made it to the end of day 3. Now, this is just one of the giveaways. This is 50K Apex evaluations. And I'll give you just a quick overview of what this is. You have learned the strategy today. You have learned a system. Maybe you do not have the capital yet. You're still working on demo. And I urge you, listen very clearly, please, that you guys continue to remain on demo until you have proven consistency to yourself. Once you have done that, you've tracked your trades, you've gotten in the reps, you've seen that you are profitable. This is an amazing start. But I will say that I only recommend using the 50K funded account once you've already proven a model or a system or your trading to yourself. But this is where you can have access to trading $50,000 worth of capital. It's insane. So just make sure that you have you've taken the reps, you've proven consistency to yourself so that you can just get the full value of this. So that's just one of the giveaways here. We also have $2,000 worth of TradeZella accounts. So you guys got to see just a tiny snippet of how powerful tracking your trading is, of how powerful TradeZella is, how you have to track good data, maybe comb out the bad data that you're tracking, be able to see the progress. So we're giving away $2,000 worth of TradeZella accounts. Oh, but wait, guys. Just because you have all made me so proud, there's more. There's another thing we're doing. I didn't announce this anywhere. Does anybody have any idea what the other giveaway could possibly be? I'm curious. Does anybody know what could the giveaway be? I got to get these bangs out of my face. I'm going to let y'all type. You guys already get free curriculum, so that's just part of it. We'll mention that again in just a moment. Ooh, okay. No, I don't have a book. Someone said, we get your book. I don't have a book. Okay, all right. You guys are very close. You're very close. So you already get and I'll touch on it in just a second, but some of you guys' answers are already correct. Yes, but nope, you don't get a dinner date, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. All right. Are you ready? What do you get? Are you sure you're ready? What anticipation? What could we possibly be getting? Boom. We're doing 3 scholarships to my private program. Traders have to be hand selected to be able to even join this program. 3 of you guys today that joined all 3 days qualifies you for this scholarship. This is a pretty insane value right here. I don't think you guys understand the weight of the situation. 3 of you guys are getting into my private program. This is wild. This is absolutely wild, and I'm so excited. The energy has been amazing. Everyone's energy, the fact that everyone has been committed, like absolutely I want you in my program. So there is one step that I need from you guys. Your instructions. How do I qualify? How do I win the giveaways? Pick me. How? You need to head to the community. It's our circle community for the Trader in 3 Days Challenge. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. We've been using it the whole time to make sure that you guys are updated so that you know the giveaways, all the details. We've even had some fun little snippets where I just check in with you guys. So make sure, one, you need to go to the circle community, the Trader in 3 Days section. I know you guys know what it is. You've been there a million times. Now we're going to have a section where you mark your attendance. Your attendance will be marked here. And also, if you guys have any questions, we're going to have the chat open. So for whatever questions you guys have on how to enter the giveaway, how to fill out the form, how to be part of the instructions. We'll have team members in the chat here. But how to qualify for the giveaway. Head to the community, mark your attendance, and fill out the form. And then we'll be announcing the winners on Friday. So exciting. So the end of this week, so go ahead and get your reps in while you're waiting to see if you've been the chosen one. There's a lot of different prizes, so it will be, I'd say, scattered among many of you guys. So the odds of at least more than half of you guys getting something out of today is very high. If we're talking probabilities and we're talking numbers here, and the fact that there are 9,442 of you guys here on day 3 is insane. That is absolutely insane. I got to go back and just because I nerd out about this stuff a little bit, the retention, the commitment that you guys have had in these streams for 3 days straight is almost unheard of. I got to make sure that if these numbers are record breaking, that's going to blow my absolute literal mind. So instructions here. This is what the circle community looks like. In case you haven't seen it, this is it. You mark your attendance. So there's going to be a mark your attendance for the challenge section right here. It's in the circle section. I'm going to make sure that if you guys don't have any questions, so give me a second. I mean, it looks like most of you guys know what the circle community is. If you guys are here today, you know that all of the announcements we've given away. Okay, cool. Everyone says done. Okay, way to go, guys. Now you can take your time doing it. We're not going to be announcing any giveaway winners until Friday. So just make sure those are the instructions. If you do have questions about how to enter, again, just ask it in the circle community. I got my entire team here ready to answer questions. So whatever you guys need help with, filling out the form, finding the right section. Corey can't find it, so that's okay. Corey, any questions that you have on trying to figure out how to find the form, where is it located, just drop a post or drop a question in circle and my team will get back to you. Okay, Minnie sees it. Okay, way to go, guys. All right, now I have a question. After these 3 days, would you consider yourself a trader? Do you see yourself using what we've covered today? There it is. Man, that's what the lag looks like. It's about a solid 20 seconds. Adrian does. Let's go. Ian does. That's what I'm talking about. I know Lou has been in here. Lou, where are you at in the chat? Lou, I know you've been DMing me. You've been asking. And I was like, this 3 days is it. I don't know, Lou, if you've made it all the way to day 3, but I've been so excited to see you here. Okay. Brooke, I know Brooke's in here today. I know Mandy's in here today. I know Catherine's in here. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go, guys. Amazing. This has been an amazing 3 days. What value? Now, I will say, I know the newbie traders got an absolute immense sense of value, but even for some of the vets here, even if you only implemented one thing that we've learned over these fast 3 days, technically these are very fast 3 days, for these last 3 days, do you think it was still time well spent? For the vet traders, even if you got one thing, maybe you relate a little bit more to Umar. Maybe you've got a little bit more in your system. Maybe you are part of the YouTube Academy and you're like, man, if I could just comb some stuff out here, simplify just a little bit. Okay, so Jason says time well spent. I'll take it. So for the vet traders, if you just got one thing out of this, is it still time well spent? I'll take it, Angie. Good to know. Sweet. Let's go, Chris. Awesome. Thank you guys. I'm so happy to hear it. Let's go. Okay. I am curious. Would you like to spend even more time together? Going deeper. Mr. Hope. There's Mr. Hope. There is Mr. Hope. I was wondering where you were. Okay, let's go. Claire, I see you. I don't know if it's the same Claire I'm thinking, but hey, Claire. All right, I'll take it. Now, guys, I have to say this again. I do have to say this again. I got a honest truth here. Even after these 3 days, even after 4 hours of strategy yesterday, I know as exciting as it is, those 3 days are not going to build years of habits. So just making sure that we totally understand that. I have given as much as I possibly could in 3 days, but just making sure that we understand it. Okay. All right. Amazing, amazing. But now you've got the map, you've got the checklist, you've got the system, you got the strategy, you got the psychology, you got the proof that it works, you've got the believability in yourself. I don't know if that's the proper way to say it. But these lasting changes takes reps. I need you guys to continue to get the reps in. Do this over and over again. Most of you guys did. At the beginning of today's session, I was asking how many of you guys continued to place another trade after I walked you through it. And you guys did. You guys continue to do it. You were confidently able to place the next trade on your own. But now continue to get the reps in. You guys got to keep going. And then you got to make constant improvements. How do you do that? You got to track your trades. But also staying disciplined. It's a matter of just, I mean, this is like very similar to working out. You want the results the one day you go to the gym, yeah, but you won't see them until a month later, 2 months later. So making sure that you're getting the reps in, you're making the improvements when you need to, and you're staying disciplined, actually showing up. But now I had two choices. Choice one, I had two choices at the end of today. Choice one, we get in today, it's the last day, amazing, you guys did incredible, but I could wish you guys luck, and I'm pretty confident in a lot of you guys. So proud, so excited, and I could hope that the replays are going to be enough for you guys to piece together on your own, which everyone in the community, if you are part of the Circle community, you get the replays. So amazing. I can hope that you're going to take these replays. I hope that they're enough and you piece them together and you do this over and over again. Some of you guys are. Some of you guys are going to take that and just run with it. I don't doubt that for a second. Others may skip some steps. You might find yourself second guessing on how to trade. Maybe a week, 2 weeks from now, you're like, I think I'm falling off a little bit. Now I'm not so sure. For the category of you guys that were you will take what I taught you in these 3 days and run with it. For those of you guys that got the value you were looking for these past 3 days, would it be okay with you guys if I offered something more to those that want to keep going? Something more to those that maybe in a week or two they might fall off. Is it okay with you guys? Okay. All right. Justin says yes. Madden says yes. Ramar says yes. All right. I'll take it. Then let's do it. Here we go. Choice number 2. We take a more active role in your success. We do the live reps with you, help you nail the system until it is second nature. You see that setup, you're not even overthinking. You're not taking your time. You see it and you do it. It's second nature to you. And give you the accountability to go from, yeah, I get it. Like yesterday, most of you guys were like, yeah, I get it, which as you should. I broke it down as much as I possibly can. I get it, yes. But I want you guys to go from I get it to, okay, I do this consistently. I do it over and over again. If you felt clarity on trading over the last 3 days, which I can tell you if you go do any more research on YouTube, you are not going to find a system as easy to understand as this one, as digestible. And I'm not going to throw any shade on Umar, but after Umar's session today, you're probably like, thank gosh, I'm here with Tori. You will love what happens when we keep going together. This is why it is my pleasure to introduce the Trendline Circle. Welcome to the circle. We got jackets, y'all. What is the Trendline Circle? This is our hands-on path to help you lock in the system. Stack the reps in, keep it going. Move towards consistent income. To be able to actually, now you guys see the money, you see it sim, you see it demo, you see it fake money. We want to work you towards seeing this with live capital. Now this right here is going out to, I believe I had a conversation with Brooke. I don't know if Brooke is in here today. I had a conversation with Maddie. You guys are already sending me DMs. This is for you guys. So you will get the complete Trendline curriculum. Now this is different. Remember, you guys all just for showing up for these 3 days already get access to the private curriculum that I have worked weeks for. But this is different. You guys will get access to the complete Trendline curriculum, the structure from beginner to pro, hours of training. My team has probably lost a lot of Gotten a lot of gray hair, we'll say that. Or lost hair, Blake. Private community with me. So this is where we hold you accountable. And I know I held you guys accountable in these past 3 days, but who's going to hold you guys accountable afterwards? Now, I know Catherine had a group of 5, so she's got her little community. But if you don't have your community, if you don't have your group of 5, this right here is the community to have that accountability. We're going to make sure you're showing up. And also the relationships that you build in here, I kid you not, guys, there is no price you can put on that. The people that I have met now virtually, not in person. Actually, you know what? There is one that I did meet, and that is Hunter. But the relationships that you guys make inside this community, there is not a price you can put on that. What you'll also get is these daily live trading sessions. So, you know, the section that we worked on yesterday was at the very end, but I was able to kind of walk you guys through placing that live trade. This part is wild. Imagine being able to do that every day. Every day that the market is open, my team can help walk you guys through placing trades, identifying setups, every single day live. What this includes is just absolutely mind-blowing to me, and I'm so excited. Real-time market conditions. So this is like, we're all seeing exactly what the instruments are doing, what the market is doing in real time. It's live. But now the Q&A sessions. This is something that I've been wrestling with, and I was like, the community needs it. We've got to add it. So this has been one of the absolute biggest additions here, is the 2 sessions with me. Now this is very intimate. I've got 8,000 of you guys, 8,856 with you guys that we're going to do Q&As today as much as we can. Imagine a much smaller group, personalized feedback from me. So we do that twice a month. So whatever you guys need help with, what you particularly need help with, we'll get personalized feedback on that Q&A session with me twice a month. Daily trade ideas. So imagine that you are waking up every morning, you got your coffee. I haven't had one sip. You got your coffee here. Imagine being able to see an entire daily trade idea section. It'll show you where you should have your lines on your chart, and even some explanations on, okay, I would be thinking if gold breaks this line, we're thinking long positions. If gold breaks this line, we're thinking short positions. This is every single morning with your coffee. Every day, daily trade ideas, screenshots, explanations. It does not get any more clear than that. You'll also get alerts. These are not signals. I don't know how much, newbies, you guys don't even know what that means, so it's fine. But for the vet traders, please do not confuse this with signals. I don't do signals. Tory Trades is not a signal trader. I don't do signals, but this is different. This is trendline alerts. So you guys will get the same alerts that I get. My phone will go off when either platinum is breaking a line. Maybe now I do still have my charts marked up for like gold and silver, even though I don't trade them, but you guys will get the same alerts that I get. In addition, you guys will get to see my live chart markups. Whoops, I moved too fast. You guys will get to see my live chart markups. So this is the best place to like cross-reference. This is what my chart looks like. What does Tori's chart look like? Does it look the same? Are my lines in the right spot or are they not? And then also when you're in the community, so you guys already get access to the community, build the relationships that you have, but also tag me. Tag me, tag the team, ping us when you need us. And now the final part. Hold on, I gotta take a sip. Gotta sip. This one's so exciting. This is gonna blow everybody's mind. I don't think anyone saw this coming. Oh, what is this? This is the 21-day accelerator. I don't know if you guys have heard it. It was discontinued. We are resurrecting the 21-day accelerator. I don't know if you guys remember that. How many do you guys remember the accelerator? Do I have any previous accelerator students in here? Resurrection. I feel like this is a sequel. This is like a Fast and Furious sequel. We got the 21-day accelerator resurrected. This is wild. Now, if some of you guys don't even know what that is, it was a program that was discontinued. We stopped it. We did the last one not too long ago, but why? Why did we stop, or why did we discontinue the accelerator? It was incredibly intensive. Point blank period, this was intensive. Think like a Navy SEAL boot camp, but for traders. And I'm not major pain, but it was very intensive. This was 3 weeks of like go, go, go. But if we're being honest here, it worked. The accelerator worked. So regardless of how intense it was, it worked. Now, let's look at Diego. Now, the coolest part is I know every single one of these people. I know every single one of these guys that we're about to see here. Diego, which I don't know if Diego's in here today, but hey, Diego, fully learned the entire strategy and left with a complete tool set to grow. Way to go, Diego. Now we've got Joseph. Joseph went from confused to confident in his trading. But this is the difference here is he didn't do this in 3 weeks or 3 days. He did it in 3 weeks. Like there's just a different kind of confidence that you get. I know that I showed you guys the confidence on day 2 and you understood it and you saw it, but will you still have that same confidence 3 weeks from now is the question. Bruno, we love Bruno. Bruno, I hope you're watching today. Bruno is our crypto guy. Bruno moved from years of just mild results to a consistent, repeatable strategy and started trading full time. Let's go, Bruno. Okay, so this is the breakdown. Now, I did see some of you guys say that you don't even know what the accelerator is, so you don't know the weight of the situation here. You don't know how incredible this is. So let me just give you the breakdown of what the accelerator actually was. So it was a 3-week intensive boot camp. I mean, essentially. And the first week, we went over psychology. So if any of the analogies helped you from yesterday, imagine going over an entire week's worth of psychology. This was 1 week of psychology. Analogies that I remember 10 years ago to help me think about my trading. Week 2 is strategy. So now we get an entire week together. Not a day, not a single day in 4 hours. There's still so much more I want to show you guys. I want to go more in depth on the bounce setup. I want to go more in depth on the retest. But you guys at least have the solid foundation of this is how we give structure to our trend lines and this is how we draw the trend lines. And this is a trend line breakout setup. You know when to get in and you know when to get out. But imagine an entire week with me being able to just go through all the different setups here. And then week 3 is just to see it done in real time. So week 3 is implementation. You get to see the strategy implemented, everything that we've learned, the psychology and the strategy combined, and then we go through the trading every day for the rest of the week. And that is week 3. So it is 3 weeks, intensive breakdown. But now how much is this all worth? What's the deal here? I know I asked the people here that can take the information and run with it. I asked your permission. Everyone else that's looking for something more, that wants to continue doing this, wants to continue to go deeper, spend more time with me. The accelerator was valued at $2,000. So these are actual screenshots of people that paid $2,000 for the accelerator. I don't know if we've got some past people in here, but this was it. Here's another one. But we're not doing it for $2,000, which would be completely fair. 3-week boot camp. Every single day, we're doing something. We're doing psychology. We're doing strategy. We're doing implementation. It's not $2,000. $997. $997. That is an insane value. This is completely separate. Mind you, this is completely separate from everything else that you get aside from the accelerator. Remember the daily live streams we talked about? You get that for an entire year. Remember the daily trade ideas that you get with your coffee? You get access to that for an entire year. I know, Sean, this is crazy. We're dropping some craziness over here. Being able to ping me and my team, access for an entire year. This is insane. So the accelerator is just a bonus. This is just we're bringing it back to life. We did some CPR, we resurrected it. $997. But this is only available for the next 48 hours. 48 hours, insane value. I cannot offer this forever. An absolutely mind-blowing value here. Now remember, we talked about the 80 to 90%. 80 to 90% of traders that go into trading lose their capital. We got to make sure that we understand that completely and utterly. We just need to work on getting towards that 10 to 20%. But regardless, even if not. So for everyone that you're going to be able to take what I learned or what I taught you guys in these past 3 days, you're going to be able to take it and run with it. Amazing, because guess what? Every single one of you guys still gets this. You still get access to the private course that I worked on. And when I tell you guys, it started with 19 hours and we had to comb it down and condense it and get it as thorough and to the point as possible. This is what you guys get access to, everyone, all of you guys, as long as you're in the Circle community. So just make sure, as long as you guys are in the Circle community, you get access to this. This is completely free. This is just by showing up and committing the time to be here for these 3 days. So amazing way to go. But remember, this is first come, first serve. TLC. Does that sound right? TLC, it felt right. It felt right. Trendline Circle. Welcome to the Trendline Circle. Welcome to TLC, baby. This is it. ToriTrades.com/TLC. First come, first serve, guys. 48 hours. But now we're doing Q&As. So buckle up, sit down, get comfortable. I'm going to start drinking my coffee now. And let's do some Q&As. Come on, Pay. I got a special guest. To kick off the Q&As here. And I don't know if you guys remember this person from my story on, it was the very first day on day one. You guys got to see Peyton. She placed her first $1,000 trade and had her first $1,000 month. She's in another trade. How's it going? Go ahead, just break it down real quick.
Hi, Minnie. Hi, everybody. Everyone's like, your sister. Oh, I love that somebody said, where's the Peyton update? You already knew it was coming. So cool. Hi, everyone. I'm so freaking excited for all of you. First and foremost, I learned so much from today, from yesterday. Hi, Michonne. This strategy has been life-changing to have Tori as a sister. You guys get her as a mentor, but I get her as a sister. Therefore, Jesus loves me more. I'm just kidding. So cool to see all of you guys. If you guys have liked this past day yesterday, put a W in the chat. I haven't said, have you done that yet?
I haven't done
Put
W's
some
in the
W's
chat yet.
in the chat. Put a W in the chat for the wins, for everybody who got value, for everybody who learned something, for everybody who's just so excited for the next season of life. All of your lives are about to be changed. I promise you. It's so cool to see this. It's so freaking cool. Sorry. Okay, my trade. So I have I've been sim trading for a hot minute, and I've been trying to learn how to trade for a while, simulating. I just wanted to prove it to myself. So, man, I made a goal of wanting to make $10,000 sim trading and holding $10,000, because it's different. Like when you're learning how to trade, like simulating, it ebbs and flows. Like I remember, like I would win some and then I would lose some, and so I made a goal to like hit 10K and keep it there. So I finally started live trading this year, and it's so cool. It's so cool to take the live trading route, because the emotions are so different.
Very.
Like the biggest thing I could say was like simulating trading was so valuable because it teaches you the strategy, but the psychology becomes so important because of how your emotions change when it's an actual dollar amount. Love the Tennessee accents. All right, cool. So yeah, I finally made my first $1,000 last month.
And we recorded it live.
It's on Tori's account. So check that out. I was at the pool. I think we just came back from the pool. I was so tired, and I checked my trade, and it like shot up because I had like an A++ setup. It had 3 touch points, and it just went. And I'm taking, multiple little losses. I feel so comfortable doing that now, because I know the reward of waiting it out until I actually catch the big move. So I made that is insane. You guys know what that paid for? A music video.
Yeah.
I feel so excited to be able to like do and pursue my dreams by being able to like make money on my phone. That blows my mind. So very cool. Tori clearly ran with it and is doing an amazing job. But I got into another trade yesterday, right before I got on a plane to head to Nashville. It was an hour flight, and I saw my alerts go off on gold. I've been trading gold and sticking to gold until I mastered it. But I got in gold. I'm in the micros, so I got in 2 contracts. And thank the Lord I set my stop loss, because as soon as we get up into the air, I was like, oh, I'll connect to Wi-Fi, and I'll be totally fine. I'll check my trade then. But then the lady goes on the intercom and she's like,
No Wi-Fi.
sorry, no Wi-Fi on this flight. Sorry for the inconvenience. I was like, thank God I set my stop loss, because I felt so much more peace, and like my risk was at a place where I was super comfortable with. So I stayed in the trade, had my trend lines up, I had my safety up, and now I'm trailing it. And I called Tori this morning before the session, and I was like, Tori Trades, your girl is making $700 right now in another position.
So cool.
How does that make you feel? Me.
I know.
I'm just a singer. I just sing.
Dude, so proud.
Like, what? It's so simple. I can't believe it. Like, I'm so proud of myself. It's so freaking cool. I want to show you guys. Will it like show?
You can try.
Okay. So you'll see my little loser as well. Okay. So gold. Oh, you can see it.
Just a little backwards.
Oh, yay. Thank you, Stu. So I ended up selling here initially. I had an action line that it crossed, and then it like consolidated. We talked about
consolidation.
Yeah, so like it went nowhere, so I had to take a little loss, and I bought right there. So I got out, and then as soon as I got on the flight, it like another alert went off, and it was like, hey, going long. So I was like, fire, I'll follow the king, I can do that. So then I bought immediately 2 contracts here at the very literally prime time.
Perfect entry here.
Can you
now
guys
it's
see
backwards, guys, but if you can see, this line right here was the action line. Price broke through the action. She thought buy.
Yeah.
And then look at that move.
So this is in gold. But I bought 2 contracts, and in the micros, I feel like it's so cool because you're not risking that much, so it's easy to do. But yeah, overnight I held it, and now I'm making $730 now. So freaking cool. So
let's go.
And you guys,
so proud of you.
I didn't go to college. I didn't either. I didn't do nothing. Like, it's so easy to learn this strategy, but you just got to commit to doing it. You got to believe in yourself and believe that, you can actually make it happen. So
period. Thank you, Pay, for the added motivation.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we're going to hop into Q&As. I know you guys have been waiting all week for this, even though it's just Tuesday. So let's get into some Q&As. Whatever questions you guys have, rapid fire. Here we go. All right. Scooch your boots, girl. If you do get an encore, I'm going to pull you right back in. I'm going to pull you right back in. Okay, let's see what we've got here. When a trend line breaks, let me see if I can scroll back. This is from, oh boy, this is going to be tricky, y'all. I wonder, team, can you guys help me maybe just screenshot some of these good questions and then send them my way, and I will work on answering them, because they seem to be moving very fast. Let's see. I'll try to grab one here. There we go. Do you wait until the candle closes to enter? Great question. This is something that I do not wait for on the 4-hour time frame. So remember, we talked about different time frames. When we talked about this top-down analysis, we started in the monthly, we moved to the weekly, then the daily. Well, I stop in the 4-hour because that's my designated time frame. Now, anyone that trades anything less than the 4-hour, they'll continue that top-down analysis. They'll do the same thing I did. Monthly, weekly, daily, 4-hour, then 1 hour, then 30-minute, then 5-minute. For those lower time frames, I do like to wait for the candle to close, which means wait for the timer to go off, for the entire candle to stop populating, make sure it is still crossed the action line, and then enter your position. It's just a little added confirmation to help you feel good when the price breaks an action line. So the answer, Julie, is I do wait for the candle to close, but only on the lower time frames. Great question, Julie. All right, let's see. Oh, Miguel, also thank you, team, for popping these on here. Okay, also, team, if you could maybe make me sideways, can you keep the slide here on the side, and just move me maybe a different kind of layout so I can just see more. There we go. That feels good. That feels good. Okay, Miguel says, I am drowning. I'm drowning. And I'm getting better. Maybe this was drawing. I think it's supposed to say drawing. Miguel says, I am drawing and getting better. Meanwhile, when you're drawing and you have a second candle touching already, is it point B? Or do you just call point B when after some minutes? All right, Miguel, I am thinking, depending on, and I've also got to try to visualize your question here. Maybe the question is, if two of the candles are touching, maybe right next to each other, does it count as a point B? I would say no, Miguel. I would say wait for a clearer pullback and a clearer touch point to happen at a later time. I would say you want these touch points to be fairly separate. If you have a bunch of touch points all grouped together, maybe in the same 3 candles, I would just group those into one touch point. But great question, Miguel. All right, let's keep it going. Christopher, what's the deal with margins? What is the deal with that? Margins and leverage. Fair question, Christopher. I will say this is a better question for ChatGPT. As much as I know you want to hear it, I'll at least give you this information. 1, I trade on something called a margin account. So if you guys want to look up a margin account, think of it kind of like a, what's the best analogy here? Think of it kind of like a credit card. You get a credit card and they allow you to actually place transactions or trades with much more money than you actually have. And then there's other things like Forex brokers or crypto brokers will simply just give you leverage. So they'll allow you to trade 4 times bigger than what you actually have in your account. So it's just leverage. It's just the ability to trade bigger positions with smaller amount of capital. So if you guys are curious on what I do or the account that I use, go ahead and have a fun little conversation with ChatGPT and type in, what is a margin account? And if you want to get even more specific, you can say, break down what margin is and what the margin requirements are on TradeStation, because that is also the brokerage that I use. So I trade on a margin account in TradeStation. But great question, Christopher. All right, let's keep it going. All right, Cheyenne, what do we got, girl? Do we allow consolidation through a steep safety line break, or should we remove the steeper one and keep the original for some wiggle room? Cheyenne, when we are in consolidation, always try to opt for the less steep. We are trying to actually even wait till we're out of consolidation. And this is where support and resistance comes into play here. Marking up the highs and the lows of the consolidation and then waiting for that to also break out is going to be the double confirmation. If you've heard me ever say double confirmation, it is marking up highs and lows when price is just moving sideways, marking up the highs and lows of it, and then not only waiting for a trend line break, which we've already gone over. Everyone knows what a trend line break is, but this is just adding something to it. So this is why we call it double confirmation. So not only waiting for the trend line to be broken, but also one of the areas of support and resistance to be broken. We want to make sure that it can break out of this high or this low that it hasn't been able to break out of for a while. So Cheyenne, I would say wait for double confirmation. That is my answer to you. Great question, Cheyenne. All right, Sarah, what is the number one mistake that you see new traders make when trying to use your strategy? Ooh, this is a great one. I'd say it's the inconsistency. I think they get really excited, and I did the same thing. It makes sense as to why it's the number one mistake, because I did it too. It's you get very excited. You're like, oh my gosh, everything that I learned from Tori last week or yesterday is incredible. I've got it. I know it. I've nailed it. But then they want to try to use it on every single instrument, every single market, every single time frame. So it's where they start throwing in too many variables and they want to take every setup, everywhere, everything. So I think the number one mistake that I see traders make when using my strategy is they use it on too many instruments, too many variables, and take too many setups. Great question, Sarah. All right, we've got another one. I keep missing out on my alerts. Oh no, do you have tips for missing out on them? Oh yeah, girl, I got some tips for you. So if you go into TradingView, there are settings for your alerts. You can have it send you an email, send you a text message. I have connected my Apple Watch to TradingView. There are ways to make sure that you do not miss an alert. Now, when I say alert, guys, some of the newbies don't know what that means. All of the trend lines that we draw on TradingView has the ability to add an alert on it to ping you when price is breaking through it so you don't have to sit and watch. But I would say go into the alert Settings, see if you can do an email, see if you can do a text message, see if you have any other devices that you can connect it to. But I think that is the best way to make sure you don't miss them. All right, next one is Ivan. If you're on a combine and the max drawdown is 2K on a 50K account, do you set your risk to 1 to 2%? I'm always going to say, now this is different. You're speaking prop firm terms. So for prop firms, you have to abide by their rules. They have a set risk amount. If you break that risk amount, you are putting yourself at risk for losing the evaluation or losing the combine. So Ivan, I would say it's all going to be dependent on the brokerage's rules. All right, Remo. Do you ever wait for confirmation candle before they trade? We did go over this one already, so we'll skip. Oh, but wait, do you add to your positions on a continuation pattern? I don't call it continuation patterns, but yes, bounces was the proper term that I use. And I do not add to positions. And I don't think I ever did in the past when I used the bounce setup. It was just, think of it like additional confirmation. But great question, Remo. For the confirmation candle, maybe you can rewind it. I just answered it a few questions ago. All right, let's keep going. Mohammed, when do you reset your lines? Ooh, beautiful question here, Mohammed. So I will always reset my lines when I see new point Bs, new pullbacks, new highs, new lows. If we're just kind of moving sideways, I'm going to leave the line where it's at. But if we get a spike up and then we're kind of pulling back, oh, I know I've got a new point B. So Mohammed, the great rule of thumb is if you see a new point B or a new pullback in either direction, high or low, now we can adjust our line, reset the lines, or draw a new one. That's a great question, Mohammed. All right, what else do we got here? Ooh, what pre-market news do you use? Jason, I do not use news in my trading. So I'll give you a quick little psychology lesson. Give me a moment. So when my uncle first taught me, my mentor, he did not use news. And he had already gone through the trial and error of figuring out different strategies. He did implement a news type system or news type strategy, and he found that it did not work for him. And then I'll give you some examples why. Now, this is specific news to like, let's say that you're trading stocks, and let's say that Apple comes out with a new phone, maybe. Did anyone see that? Maybe Apple comes out with a new phone, and it ends up being a flop. And everyone online, everyone on social media is saying that the new iPhone is a flop. It's going to tank their stock. So you're thinking, okay, well, we got a bad iPhone. The stock of Apple is going to drop. Okay, that's my indication to sell. But then here's the thing, when it doesn't react to the way that news was or the way that social media had anticipated, you have already solidified this bias. So you're thinking short positions, but if you were to see it go down, you just can't fathom the fact that you're like, but everything was pointing to it crashing. Everything was pointing to it going down. So it makes it so much harder to close that position and change and follow the king. So it just created, this bias that he couldn't let go of. And I think the same thing would have happened to me if I ever implemented news. So I do not implement any news when it comes to my trading. It is purely price action, just so that I don't have any other separate biases. But great question, Jason. All right, Rebecca. Ooh, I think this is a sister question. How do you and your sister handle taxes so that you can actually profit from your trades? Rebecca, I am not a tax girly. Here is my number one advice for you. Get a really good CPA. That is it. That's all. I don't know nothing. I get a good CPA that knows about trading, and they just tell me what to do. So sorry, Rebecca, I wish I had a better answer for you, but that's not my forte. It's not my realm. I just make sure to hire a good CPA. All right, Joanna, when doing your top-down analysis all the way to the 5-minute, does 1 week data rule need to be applied? Ooh, this is a great question, Joanna. Does it need to be applied at some point, for example, on the 1 or the 4 hour time frame, or does it not apply at all when going to the 5-minute? So, Joanna, it does not apply in the 5-minute time frame because you are making so many more decisions. You are making so many more decisions that the week's worth of data rule does not apply to the lower time frames. If anything, the only thing that I would apply to the 5-minute time frame rule is the touch points. Does it have 2 touch points? Does it have 3 touch points? That is universal. That works in a 5-minute time frame. That works on a 4 hour time frame. But the week's worth of data does not is not applicable to the 5-minute time frame? Great question, Joanna. All right. Kevin, how do you know to stop making or drawing steeper lines? Do you continue to draw new lines with an open position? Great question, Kevin. I will say, Kevin, I will say, when you're drawing steeper lines, if it doesn't have a clear, obvious point B, don't draw it. Don't draw it. If it's not an obvious yes, then it's an obvious no. If it's not a heck yes, it's a heck no. If it doesn't have a clear point B, do not draw any steeper lines. There are going to be times where I do draw new lines with an open position, but it doesn't change my trade. Now, there are times where I will draw steeper lines when I'm in a position, like a steeper safety line, to help me mitigate my risk more and capitalize on more profit. But great question, Kevin. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we're going to do 4 more minutes. And then, believe it or not, I still have another announcement for you guys. Dude, for y'all that made it this far, I got a super mega secret. I got 7,000 people here right now. They're about to have their absolute minds blown. You guys have no earthly idea. This is huge. I can't wait, but I'm going to keep going through some Q&As. So freaking excited. There's more. Believe it or not, there's more. I'm so excited this 7,000 amount of people stayed on. You guys are getting rewarded. I'm telling you right now. Okay. So when a trend line is broken and more candles form, should I redraw the trend line to connect the new touch points, or should I leave the original? So Vital, I will say, as long as you're not in an open position, and you're not modifying the action line, then absolutely. If you've got a clear new point B and more candles have formed and it has created some sort of pullback, some sort of clear point B, absolutely come in with another line. But the only rule of thumb is do not come in or do not modify your action line when you're in a trade. You need to always be reminded of why you're in when price is continuing to move. When you're in an open position, that action line needs to stay put so you know exactly why you got in. Otherwise, your risk management and your trade management is going to get wonky. But I hope that was helpful, Vital. All right, what else do we got? All right, waiting for some more questions. Corey, how can you predict when to wait for a bounce or a retest? So Corey, I never predict. If I see that, so it's always react. Think react instead of predict. No predictions are here. I don't got a fancy globe and I'm not trying to rub a ball and guess and read some palms. It is always reaction. So I'm reacting or I'm following what the king is doing. If the king or the price is bouncing off of a line, I'm getting in. I have to see the price get to the line and start to pull away from it, to start to bounce off of it. I'm thinking we're taking our entry. For a retest, I need to see price break it, retest it, and then start pulling away. So it's reaction and not prediction. But great question, Corey. All right, Greg. Greg says, if I am trading 2 instruments that are a part of 2 different exchanges, like the COMEX and the NYMEX, do I need to buy a data package for each exchange in real time? I believe you do have to, Greg. Yes. So in my brokerage account, I am signed up for all data. I'm paying a subscription for all. But if you are trading on 2 different exchanges, now, Greg, they might have, depending on your brokerage, they might have packages that include both of those. So you need to go see if you are. Now, Greg, I'm not sure if you're asking about a brokerage or about TradingView. TradingView is a little bit different. It's $7 a month to be able to trade like CME Group, that exchange. But for COMEX, and for the question, I'm not sure if it's related to brokerages or real-time data on TradingView. But I would say, Greg, for the most part, it's probably a yes. You do have to pay for separate data packages. But great question, Greg. All right, let's get another question here. How can I avoid getting caught in fake outs? Oh my gosh, when trading gold. We got a gold trader over here. Almost every time a trend line breaks, I enter the trade, but price quickly reverses and goes the opposite direction. A great rule of thumb, if you're trading the lower time frames on gold, waiting for some additional confirmations to make you feel a little bit better doesn't necessarily, it's not like you can predict a fake out, but it does kind of scrape out the likelihood of you getting caught in one. So it could be something like waiting for the candle to close. If you wait for the candle to close on the other side of the action line, the likelihood of you getting caught in the breakout or caught in the fake out is slim because it's still on the other side of the action line. Another thing you could do is wait for a retest. Action line gets broken, wait for it to touch it from the other side, and then start pulling back. Then you've kind of helped avoid some of the fake outs. Now, we're never going to be able to predict, but that just kind of helps comb through the likelihood of you taking more breakouts to be slim. Great question. How do you measure stats? And how many trades do you test before deciding what to keep and what not to? This is an amazing question. I think a good rule of thumb is just more so if you're trading lower time frames, think of it more like just allow time to go by. Like allow 30 days to go by. Because not only is it the amount of trades that you're tracking, but in those 30 days, you're also getting to collect data from different market conditions. So I think instead of just trying to, because you could collect 30 trades in a day. We don't want to collect 30 trades in a day. We want to collect it more over time. So I think if you can use time as your collection factor instead of just X amount of trades, that allows you to track data from different market conditions over time. So I would say using 30 days of stats is going to be incredibly helpful. And how do I measure my stats? Y'all already know. It's TradeZella. TradeZella is the platform that I have synced to my brokerage account. So anytime I place a trade, everything automatically gets popped into TradeZella. So let's say that I am placing trades with a new system or a new strategy or a new playbook or a new setup, and I do it for a month. I will go back into my TradeZella, look at this entire month, and now see, okay, these are different market conditions. Did it work? Did it not? What do the losers have in common? What do the winners have in common? And then you can start to kind of modify. Great question. Northanos. Ooh, another one from Vital. All right. Vital, you get an extra love today. When a trend line is broken and more candles form, should I redraw? Oh, we already did this one. Keep going. Ivan. Nope, we did this one too. Looks like we are stuck in a loop, team. Nope, I think we did this one too. Yeah, we did this one. Let's see. I'll just start looking at the chat if I can. Let's see. Okay, there we go. All right, Britiana says, how do I see full screen for a Forex pair when I'm doing top-down analysis? When I reach the 4 hour, I cannot find my trend lines. Britiana, I'm wondering if you are using TradingView, and if you are, a great rule of thumb is to make sure that when you put that point B, that little circle, you get 2 circles when drawing a trend line or using the ray tool. You'll get the pivot point, which is the first touch point or the first circle. And then the second circle, if you can make sure that that circle is on the most recent touch point and you don't just use it to angle it, it should help you be able to find your trend lines or find your point Bs a lot easier when you're doing that top-down analysis. But as far as if you're not able to see them, I'm not sure. You could hit the reset button. There's a reset button. It looks like an arrow with a curved arrow. If you want to hit that reset, it resets your view, even when you're in the 4 hour time frame. So see if you can try that. Okay. Oh, Bazil. Bazil has a question. Okay, Bazil, do you feel more emotional pressure when you're winning or losing a position? Love the psychology tips. More emotional pressure when you're winning or losing. Nowadays, I feel more pressure. I mean, I think maybe this is a common one. I think when I'm losing, I feel a lot of pressure. Me probably more than most. A lot of pressure when I'm losing a trade because I got a million eyeballs on my trade or on my loss, on my losers. But I think it's just easy to be happy when you're in a winner trade, when you're in a winning trade. So emotions are easy. Yeah, they get like high and excited, but the emotional pressure when you're in a losing position, sometimes it's crippling. Great question, Bazil. Great question. All right, I'll take one more question. All right, Derek is going to be the last one for now, just for now. We'll do a few more after, but I have a crazy mega announcements for you guys. And I said announcements with an S, but it's just one. It's just one announcement. Okay, how long have you been able to consistently hold your trades? Longer than a week? And how do you protect yourself? So, Derek, I've been able to hold trades. I think my maximum has been like a month. I think it's been a month. I don't think it's any longer than a month. Now, how do you protect yourself? The protection is going to be the safety line. This sounds like we're having a weird conversation. How do you protect yourself? Everyone, use protection. Safety line. Safety line in your trades. Don't forget it. Safety line and stop loss, I will usually refer to them as the same thing. As long as your stop loss trails along or moves along your safety line, I'm protected. Think of it like the fire extinguisher. When we went over psychology yesterday, at the beginning of yesterday's session, we understood the importance of the fire extinguisher. But great question, Derek. All right, guys. I've got more. So just stay tuned, buckle up, y'all. This is the craziest. Hold on, I got to get myself ready for this. This is wild. Y'all ain't even going to believe this. You're not going to believe it. Here we go. All right, 7,227 of y'all get some crazy special news. So way to go. You made it this far. What could it be? Whoops. What could it be? Forgot to show you guys. Link is in the description. Now, there's one last thing. There's one last thing. The 3 days, guys, has been incredible. The amount of positive feedback that I've gotten from especially people that never thought ever that they would be. Somebody said you're pregnant. No, that's not that special. And no, I'm not. The amount of positive feedback and just hearing from people that they were like, I never thought I'd be able to trade. And the fact that they placed their first trade with me yesterday is absolutely mind-blowing. The fact that I have the ability to spend 4 hours with you guys going over psychology and strategy as thoroughly as I possibly could. It's been incredibly special. Incredibly special. So fulfilled. But now, does anyone want to guess what this last thing is? Anybody curious? Does anyone have any idea what this last thing could be? What could it possibly be? Kelly stayed home from work for this. Kelly, don't worry. You're getting rewarded for this. Does anyone have any idea? Emmanuel's got no idea. Emmanuel's like, listen, I've got nothing. What more could you possibly do? And I get it. K Latte has no idea. Rob thinks it's free tacos for a year. Jasmine thinks I'm giving away $1 million. Incorrect. The free Apex accounts, those have already been given away. I'm giving away 5,000 of them. All right. Nobody guessed it, dude. Nobody guessed it. They've got no clue. Adriana has no clue. Oh, wait, what is this? We got the team spilling some sauce. It's been too hard for me to say goodbye, guys. So guess what? We're doing day 4. We're doing another day. We're not stopping yet. We're doing one more day, day 4. But I needed to make day 4. If I'm going to add a bonus day and I'm only announcing it to you guys that are here now that you've made it this far on day 3, it's got to be crazy. Like, we got to pull off something insane. Especially, and now we had to do it last minute. Because as some of you guys know, once I tell you what it is, it's going to make a lot more sense to you. But we had to make something crazy. All right, we got to turn the comments off because I don't want anybody to give it away because this is crazy. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? I don't think you're ready. I don't think they're ready. We're doing one more day, but what is so special about this one day? We've got another special guest. We've got somebody special, somebody really, truly special coming on for this last day. Any guesses? K Latte? Nope. Nice try though. Yeah, Andy, you know what's about to happen. You know what's going on. Correct. You guys, I'm going live day 4 with my mentor. I don't think you guys have any earthly idea how insane this is. You guys get access to the person that has given me stupid amounts of value, that has changed my entire life, that has guided my morals, my values, that has been the absolute and utmost role model in my entire life, in all things, in finances, in faith, in family. We get to see and hang out with Uncle Mike live tomorrow. Now, here's the kicker. I have to go drive to Florida, like right now. I got a 9-hour drive if I want to go do day 4 with Uncle Mike. So I have to keep today short. I've got about 20 more minutes today, and then I have to get on the road to go to Uncle Mike's house. We're doing this. I had to come to him. If you guys understand the fact that this is how we had to pull it all together last minute. I got to go to Uncle Mike in Jacksonville, Florida. I got to drive my Nashville butt in my Tesla, which means I'm going to have to do a lot of stops, a lot of charges, to Jacksonville, Florida. But we get to spend time live with Uncle Mike. And you guys can call him Uncle Mike too. He's everybody's uncle. He's everybody's uncle around here. Friends, family friends, viewers, listeners. He can be everyone's Uncle Mike. But that's it, guys. That is the insane announcement. Now I'm going to spend a few more minutes doing some more Q&As. But I know, Tahoe, I could fly, but I actually really enjoy driving. It's my favorite thing to do, actually. Road trips are one of my all-time favorite things to do. I get to disassociate. I can't be on my phone for 9 hours. You know how amazing that is to me? Love it. I get to listen to music. I'm incredibly excited to actually do this road trip. But super exciting news. So amazing. I mean, congratulations that you guys made it this far and got to hear this announcement. We'll see how low key it is. Like this is the announcement here. You guys made it this far. You get to know Uncle Mike will be with us live tomorrow. Same time tomorrow, but we're going to have a day 4. This is going to be crazy. But now remember also for the offer for being a part of the Trendline Circle, 48 hours, and then it's closed. So if you guys have decided to be a part of the Trendline Circle, ToriTrades.com with a Z/TLC, which it couldn't be any more of a perfect acronym. TLC, the Trendline Circle, tender love and care. We are going to take care of y'all. Don't you worry. The free curriculum that you guys get, the free private curriculum that I've made for everyone just specifically for the Trader in 3 Days Challenge. Any information that you guys have or that you need to find access to it, go to the Circle community. Any questions that you guys have on the giveaways, on everything that's been given away, the replays from this past 3 days, everything is in the Circle community. Circle community. Any questions that you guys have, tag me. Yes, correct. If you want to find out how to enter for the scholarship, everything's in the Circle community. I'm going to keep you guys updated completely and thoroughly. Announcements, instructions, and the winners will actually be released on Friday. So any questions that you guys have in the Circle community. All right, guys, do we have any more questions? We'll go for just a few more minutes. Whoops, sorry, guys. Okay, how did you get the motivation to keep going when you were a beginner trader? I was able to see my uncle do it like in real time, and I got to see his trades happen all the time. He would share them with me. He'd be like, Tori, look at this $75,000 trade I got going. What? Like, how can you not be motivated to see that? So I had access to my mentor, very close access. And I think, Chanel, this is also a great question. I think the reason I stuck it through is because I completely believed and trusted my mentor. I knew that if I kept going, I'm going to get the results that he has. Like, I didn't think that for a second that he wasn't being honest with me. I didn't think for a second he wasn't telling me all the sauce. I didn't think for a second he was withholding any information. I knew that he wanted to see me succeed, and he was going to give me all of the information he needed, or all of the information I needed. So I trusted completely. I knew all I had to do was put in the time. So that helped me, Chanel. That was a great question. All right. What are your best methods for filtering false trendline breaks? We did go over this already, Vital. Vital, if you ask this one more time. Vital, what are you doing? I thought we went over this. It was adding the candle closure confirmation or the retest confirmation. All right, what other questions do we got here? Life Vault. How should I apply the trendline strategy when price is already at an all-time high? Ooh, amazing question. Like gold right now. Since there is only an upward trend line, how do I approach it? Life Vault, you're not going to want to hear this. It's patience. You guys sit and wait. You got to wait for two things to happen. You have to wait for the all-time high to be printed, for it to happen, for it to come down, and then create a lower high, a point B, to where now we can draw a downward trend line. We always have to have a safety. We always have to have an action. We've always got to have two lines. So when working with all-time highs, if you're not already in, like Peyton's already in, so she doesn't have to wait or sit on her hands because she already took the entry or took the signal back whenever she did have a downward trend line. But whenever you don't have a downward trend line and you're working with all-time highs, you have simply just got to be patient. You got to wait for that high to be populated, and then you got to wait for a second high. I hope that answered your question. What is this? All right, Wesley. Let's see what we got, Wesley. How many years into your trading experience after making the mistakes that you made did everything click? And what was your average percentage gains on a month-to-month basis? Wesley, I do not know that offhand, but I will say when things clicked, It wasn't like a one day I woke up and I was like, oh, I got it. It was just over time, I noticed I wasn't hesitating on trades. It was, I wasn't being, I didn't hesitate. I didn't overthink. I wasn't micromanaging. It was when it became like very second nature. Like I saw a setup, I got in. Saw a setup, I got in. Like that's when I was like, oh, I got this. So it wasn't something that happened overnight, but I think it's when the hesitation goes away, the micromanaging goes away, and I don't know if I said hesitation already. I probably did. But yes, it wasn't an overnight thing, Wesley. But great question. Jaden, what is a good market to trade to practice in paper trade? I don't get to place trades. I didn't get to place a trade. Oh, when you did, because I only had basic TradingView. So Jaden, if you sign up for TradingView, they have a 30-day free trial. So go ahead and do the free trial. It's 30 days. Why not? Do, I think the pro version is if you're going to do a free trial, like you might as well do the best version you can, but I don't think you need to do anything higher than pro, but it's free for 30 days. So you can get 30 days of practice in if you just sign up for the free pro account for 30 days. I think that's the best way to go, Jaden. But I don't think there's one specific market. I think it's just you got to practice. You got to get the reps in and you got to track it. And then that's where the journaling and the data comes into play. Okay, which one's working for me? Which instrument or what market and which one's not? But great question, Jaden. 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll go for 4 more minutes, guys. One second. Okay. How do you choose what instrument to trade? I had to start somewhere. So I had to trade multiple instruments at once. And then you just slowly start to narrow it down. There was a time in my trading, I believe it was probably back in 2022, where I was trading gold, silver, crude, YM, NQ, corn. No, I don't think I was trading corn yet, but I was trading a lot of different instruments. But it was like I had to trade quite a few just to see which ones I liked the best, which ones gave me the best results, which ones essentially got me the most profits as well. I remember I narrowed down to crude oil at one time because I had one of my best months ever in like I think it was 2020 or no, I think it was 2021 or maybe 2022 where I had one of my best months ever, and it was in October. It was like, I don't know, crude oil did something amazing in October, and that was my first indication to start narrowing down. I was like, ooh, I'm doing really good in crude. So now I don't need to trade so many instruments at once. I can start narrowing it down. But great question. All right. Lucky. In futures trading, how do you balance the need for leverage to maximize risk returns with risk margins, especially during periods of unexpected volatility? So Lucky, depending on your brokerage, they will let you know when unexpected volatility is happening and when you cannot use their intraday margin rates or if their intraday margin rates change. So it's going to be dependent on the brokerage that you use, but they will let you know. They'll let you know. I always get an alert from TradeStation when the intraday margin requirements change because of unexpected volatility. But I think this is a great question for ChatGPT. I'm telling you, it's not my forte because there's so many different margin requirements for so many different brokerages. I only have experience with TradeStation specifically, and TradeStation has they've got an amazing breakdown of all of their margin requirements for every single instrument, their intraday margin requirements, their overnight margin requirements, their over the weekend margin requirements, their long position margin requirements, short positions margin requirements. So they've got it all broken down on their website. But great question, Lucky. All right, let's do one more question. One more. Is there anything that your uncle taught you that you didn't learn until you experienced it for yourself? Oh, yeah. Let me tell you about it. Absolutely. He told me 1,000,000 times over that losing was going to sting. And it's until you actually do it with live money that you're like, oh, this is devastating. This hurts. You can be told that a punch is going to hurt 1,000 times until you actually get punched in the face. I'm telling you that right now. I mean, everyone's like, yeah, duh, I get it. I see it on TV. It looks like it hurts. Wait till you're the one getting punched in the face. It hurts. So when you make that transition to live trading, just know you're not going to experience it or you're not going to understand it quite as much until you experience it for yourself. But wow, Cam, that was a great question to leave off on. So everybody can tell you that getting punched in the face is going to hurt until you actually get punched. And then you know, oh, this hurts, this stings. But great question. All right, guys, that is all I have for you today. I've got 10 more minutes to get ready and pack up, get in the car, and I'm headed to Jacksonville, Florida for day 4. We are adding one more bonus day to the Trader in 3 Days challenge, and it's with Uncle Mike. Just remember that the TLC community, if you've been interested, this is for those that wanted more, that wanted to go more in depth, wanted to spend more time with me and my team, actually solidify this, have somebody hold them accountable, have an entire community hold them accountable. This is first come, first serve. And it is only open for 48 hours. Oh, I already passed it. Boom, there it is, 48 hours. So remember, first come, first serve, 48 hours. This is a price that I cannot keep, that is not going to stick around. Just the amount for the accelerator, I don't know if you guys remember, but the accelerator itself was $2,000. And we had people sign up for that. That was undervalued in itself. But not only do you get Resurrection Accelerator coming back to life, which is just a bonus, which is an insane bonus, but you also get access to the community for a year. Access to my live charts for a year, my trendline alerts for a year, to the community for a year, the hours of curriculum for a year, the daily trading live with my team. If you didn't get to place your first trade today, or if you didn't get to place your first trade yesterday, your very first sim trade, guess what? My team is there every single day to walk you through it. Every day that the trading or every day that the market is open, you get to see it be done in real time. Insane amount of value, 48 hours. For $9.97. $9.97 is the price, limited time, 48 hours. But this is specifically for those. Now, remember, I mentioned there was people that have been able to take what I've taught you guys in these 3 days. You're going to take it and run with it. If you guys need more, this is for those that need more, that want the accountability. I have heard that some people are saying that the link is not working. So I am curious, team, if you guys want to check. Pay, can you just check real quick to make sure the link's working? A lot of people were saying that the link wasn't working. ToryTrades.com with a Z/TLC. 48 hours, limited spots. We're checking to see if the website's working. It's working right now? Okay. It might have crashed. Just see if you can refresh your screen. It's working for us right now on our end. All right, guys, way to go. I don't know if I want to. Yeah, wait, can you hit refresh one more time just to make sure? Okay, yeah, you guys, it's still working. It's up. It's going. Did Big Daddy sign up? Let's go, Big Daddy. Here we go. You're already locking it in. Signed, sealed, and delivered. All right, guys. All right, everybody. TLC, the Trendline Circle. I will see you guys there. And until then, I'm going to, oh my gosh, I got a 9-hour drive ahead of me. 9 hours of driving. Here I go. Wish me luck. I will see you guys tomorrow, same time for a bonus lesson with Uncle Mike, day 4. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. I'm so excited. Bye, guys. See you all.